Actually, for me, it's very easy to understand such thought process. Okay, yeah, I don't like bishop c3, king c7, I don't like. Shit, why have I got this position?
Yeah, I was
Okay,
waiting.
let's see further. Okay, knight c3, knight b4, rook b1. Okay, maybe interest. Oh no, king c7. Shit, why have I got into this position?
And I would say my favorite player from the past is probably myself, like 3-4 years ago.
H5, H3, and yeah, Magnus played king.
King b4. Okay,
Yeah.
so well done. GG.
Yeah, GG's.
GG, WP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, knight g5. Yeah, this is what something.
FTW.
Yeah.
FTD for the draw.
Wow.
And
Interesting tense with knights.
yeah. Very, very peculiar opening, I have to say. This is one of the more
I'm very confused.
This is one of the more peculiar opening positions I've seen in a while.
Magnus, you said 2 years ago that you don't believe in fortresses. Do you now?
No, it's a good thing they exist, right?
Welcome back.
Hello everybody! Welcome to the live coverage of this 7th round. Half of the tournament is gone.
Yeah, the second half starts today, and we are very, very excited to continue covering it for you. I'm Peter Svidler, and with me is the wonderful Sopiko. And what do you think will happen today?
Today, knight of 3.
Yeah, I was about to make some kind of a joke like this. I said something along those lines on Twitter just now, but
Yeah.
I think now that we've settled on 1e4, Magnus didn't get any further with 1e4 than he did with d4 and c4, but I think e4 has to be the battleground.
Yeah.
And actually, perhaps the choice of game 6 and the particular, line of the Petrov that he played could be explained by the fact that he has two whites in a row and he had a rest day in between. So game 6 was spent just to check whether it's actually the Petrov. We all suspected it will be the Petrov,
Yeah.
but he didn't know for sure. But now he has more or less hard confirmation that it is the Petrov against 1e4.
Yeah.
And they can fine-tune something I'm sure they prepared in advance. So my tentative guess is 1e4 once again. But of course we could be proven wrong as
that
usual.
is true. And I saw on Twitter, I think it was Hammer's tweet, who tweeted a picture of his chess base lines. And when Magnus played knight d3, he said, "Oh, finally the line is there." And he had this knight d3 line, which was ended in like 7 moves or something.
Yeah, no, 93, I mean, none of us can be anywhere near as harsh as Alexander Grischuk, who as usual will join us in about an hour's time from now. But yeah, he was very surprised by that choice, because he felt that
It goes nowhere.
it goes nowhere, and what's even sort of more unpleasant for the player playing this line with white is that people actually know, even people who are not preparing for the World Championship.
Yeah.
And to expect Team Caruana not to be aware of this line and not to be prepared for it is, in Sasha's opinion, I think he described it as naive.
I would agree with him, because, well, when you're preparing for World Chess Championship match, then you have you're checking every bit that is possible to happen, because you don't want to sit there over the board and get under preparation. And especially you have so many people who are working for you, the team. It's not only you, team, computers, engines, and you're playing Petrov, so you are checking every bit of it that can happen.
Yeah, and I don't think 93 will make a repeat appearance, because as I mentioned in my recap, something we did not catch during the game, there was a moment very early in the game after f3, knight c5, d4, if you remember the position.
Yeah.
The machine just says c7, c6 there, and immediately goes to full zeros.
Yeah.
And what's more, the position actually becomes rather simple to play, which kind of raises even more questions in my mind, as I mentioned in the video as well.
Go?
Yeah, why would you go there? Because I mean, after c6, I think it's extremely unlikely that white gets anywhere at all.
Yeah.
And compared to those positions, what he got in the game could be described as a dream, frankly, and even that wasn't very much, as we have seen. But yeah, we'll see what Magnus decides. And also, if the second half of the match goes sort of along the same lines as the first one did, we are kind of very seriously talking about what Magnus will do today. But judging by how the first half went, today is Fabiano's big chance, you know,
because he's playing with black pieces.
because he's playing with the correct pieces. And out of the 6 games we've seen, black were completely and humanly winning in game 1, when Magnus missed a number of forced wins with black, and Fabiano was, well, machinely winning day before yesterday, because bishop h4 is followed by
so tough.
And people pointed out on Twitter that you actually mentioned knight f3 on knight g1 on the live show,
but I don't remember that.
But frankly, we were delirious, and I'm not trying to take anything away from your guess. And also, I wanted to apologize to the viewers, or at least those who decided to watch my rambling recap, because when the recap was finished, I realized that I did not explain a certain thing on air at all, and I sort of spotted it during the making of the video, but I was like 40 minutes in by that point. I wasn't going to redo it. And there was no way I was going to try and figure it out live on air.
Yeah.
And what I want to say is that even after knight g1, even if you spot somehow bishop h4, knight f3, knight g1, because, I don't know, you suddenly start having visions, and you know there are birds flying in front of your face telling you things. Even after that, there are lines there which are unbelievably difficult to figure out. So to count that as a miss,
we cannot blame Fabiano for not finding it at all.
Yeah.
He played brilliantly. All this sequence with c5, changing the character of the game, and then pressing all the time. It was brilliant. That's a Magnus sign, isn't it?
Yeah, that's we're continuing to test drive the Magnus signed mugs, and the mug won in a raffle during round 6 was won by a user with the name Inception, which is a nice name, and we actually know how to pronounce that. Hello, Seb. We assume you're Seb. And we congratulate you not only on the mag, but also on this little bit of linguistic nimbleness, is what I want to say, but probably shouldn't. Anyway, game is about to begin, so we probably should return to what will happen today. But as
So
mentioned,
you stick to e4.
I think one e4 is more likely than everything else.
Okay.
I think if he does e4, we are much more likely today to see something a lot more mainstream. 5 knights e3 against the Petrov, or possibly one of the classical lines. And also, while we're on the topic, it's not really the time to discuss this, but it's, to my eyes, kind of notable that Fabi belongs to the school of thought that think, okay, and 1d4 was already played, so I can stop this. But Fabi does play bishop d6 here instead of knight c6, bishop b7, and against people who play bishop d6 in the Petrov, I would generally play more Petrovs with white rather than less. But all of this is now completely academic, because we have gone full circle, and we're back to 1d4. And it's kind of regrettable, because if you want to go full circle, where's knight of 3?
Yeah.
Come on, Magnus.
Yeah.
Where's knight of 3?
Okay, but the half of the tournament is gone, so first half is gone, and second half starts again with d4, because game 2 was d4.
No, I mean, there is some symmetry to it. And also, if you play knight of 3, there's just not enough games to go 2 full circles.
Yeah.
You need, like, there's only 6 games, so you can only make 2 full circles if you make 3 first moves. But yeah, all jokes aside, well, are they the same thing? Yeah, okay, c4. I was about to say that, I mean, he could also go for the London or something, but no London for us. And I think Sasha will be sharply critical of that decision when he comes on, because he was very much on the record stating that,
especially after knight c3, but maybe he changes.
Maybe he goes
mind.
g3 or something. Yeah,
maybe he goes Catalan.
There are still options here. G3 obviously is the most important of them, but if you want to avoid things, actually, now that you played d4, knight of 3, and c4, there's not very many ways to dodge things. There is bishop g5 here. Once again, trying to avoid the absolute main lines. There is this idea of playing bishop g5, and sometimes then the knight goes to d2. It does have separate theory, but it also transposes to a lot of things. I don't think White can hope to completely avoid mainline theory if he does that.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Knight c3 or g3. I have a feeling that he will again go for knight c3. Yeah. Knight c3, bishop
knight c3, bishop e7 already played, and in game 2 Magnus went for bishop f4, and in general I think he has been playing mostly bishop f4 in this position when it arises in his games. Also notably, Sasha was, the reason he was so critical about Magnus's choice to test this tabia, or as Sasha referred to it, MP main position, is that instead of bishop e7, black can also play dc4 and go for Viennas this way. Black can play bishop b4 and go for all kinds of Ragozins, and all of these things. All of these things Fabi is perfectly capable of doing. So the perimeter of things you kind of need to defend here with White is very, very large.
Bishop f4 again.
Yeah, but Fabi had, well, to say that Fabi had no problems in game 2 is an understatement. He was actually playing, well, sort of mildly for a win in that game at some point, so no real reason for him to deviate. Castles, I mean, there are all kinds of small moves here as well. You can start with rook c1, you can start with a3, but yeah, Magnus is not really.
He's following his preparations, and it's actually good because the first half is gone, and now Magnus knows what to expect on what move. So maybe he decides what to play, what he likes to play.
Yeah, and another sort of relevant thing is Sasha, when he came on, not for game 2, I think there was a conversation. Yeah, because I wasn't here for game 2. When we started,
he was there from the beginning.
Yeah. For game 3, when he came on, he said that since game 2 happened, and then there was a rest day, he clicked around a little bit because he obviously plays these lines himself occasionally, and he's not that convinced in the objective merits of this rook d8, well, quote unquote novelty that Fabiano played. So obviously, Team Carlsen had more or less exactly a week to try and do something about rook d8, but you know, if my experience and even frankly common sense tells us anything, is that it's extremely unlikely that they will actually get to try and refute it for the second time. They will get shown something else today.
I agree with you. It's you don't expect Rook D8, right? Maybe.
Well, we don't know, but I think the strategy of giving the opponent's team something to work on and then never showing them that position again is kind of a time-honored tradition, and people have been doing this quite successfully in World Championship matches for many years. I remember the one World Chess Championship match I was involved with kind of deeply was the Kramnik-Leko match in Brissago. And Leko just kept on playing random anti-marshals, never repeating. And we would bang our heads against the wall. Between the two white games, we would just try very, very hard to refute what he's done.
And you have to, because what it
happens... You have to. And this is the annoying part, is that if you tell yourself he's not repeating this, and then he repeats it, you feel extremely stupid. But you also sort of know he's not repeating it.
You know, but you have to, because there is like 0.01% chance, but okay.
And he kept on doing it, and it kept on working perfectly for him.
That's a very interesting strategy.
And I think also it's easier to do that in these, once again, quote-unquote shorter matches. Yeah. Like if in a 24-game match, preparing enough one-game ideas might stretch you. But in, let's say, a 12, or like in Brissago, it was a 14-game match, it's not that difficult to prepare enough playable ideas so that you never repeat anything. And okay, Magnus already dodges Rook D8 himself. This is quite interesting. Yeah.
No Rook D1.
No Rook D1 today, and Knight D2. Once again, it's been a very, very long time since I looked at this, because I don't really play this opening with either color. But I have a feeling this is some very, very old theory. And also that I really am supposed to know what black plays here, but I can't recall. I think it gets very sharp, but I think it also is supposed to be completely fine for black. Officially, let's put it like this.
Well, knight d2 is kind of main position in this system, right?
No, white very often goes knight d2.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of exactly when. And as I think Sasha did during game 2, the main line before Rook d8 appeared on the board in game 2, the main line in this line probably currently is Rook e8, knight g2, e5, bishop g5, knight g4, queen b1, bishop f5, and Sasha was showing all these pirouettes live on air, and that was even I can probably show some of these lines. And I don't play this with either color because it's so popular these days. Yeah. So 92, yeah, 92 is a very normal move in these positions, and FIDE just replies by immediately removing the queen from this fork. Yeah. It's interesting that he starts with queen d8 and not with bishop e7, because if you want to move these pieces, knight b3 obviously is the big threat here, and if you want to start removing pieces from this fork, you would think that bishop e7 is the more natural one, which makes me think that maybe after knight b3 he wants to consider bishop d6, but it seems very passive.
It is a bit like
maybe bishop b6.
Playing with moves. I mean that we had this position with queen d8, but knight was on f3. So knight d2, we could argue that it's better because c4 pawn is protected, and then knight b3 is also a problem. But knight f3 was controlling exactly the d4 and e5 as well. So queen d8 is understandable, right?
No, but mainly you're just avoiding the immediate very strong threat of knight b3, because if you do nothing at all, if you make some kind of a stupid move like bishop d7, you're just losing a piece here because white just collects this bishop on c5. So the threat is very, very strong. Once again, people in chat are saying that the machine dislikes queen d8, but I don't think it's sensible to trust in machine's evaluations at this depth in these types of positions.
Computer suggests knight f3 back.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. We should mention this joke once and never return to it, because Magnus has not played knight d2 in order to go back to f3.
Or just draw comfortably with white.
Yeah,
knight f3.
I don't think any of this is particularly likely. So the moves you would consider here with white.
Developing ones, because we need to develop. Rook d1, bishop e2. I would not consider b4. It's too
Actually,
early.
I don't think b4 is horrible, but probably it's a bit early because it gives black targets as well. I think the main two moves are knight b3 and rook d1.
Yeah.
Honorable mention might go to cd5, but I think in this particular version, giving black, first of all, the bishop is now very much freer, and also the way we set up our pieces, it will be very difficult to stop d5, d4, and then the entire central structure disappears. And those positions very often are just completely equal. But rook d1 in particular is a very, very serious move here, because d4 we will be ready to meet it with knight b3, attacking the bishop on c5, and also black obviously cannot take the knight because we've pinned the pawn on d4.
Queen is lost.
Yeah, so rook d1 is definitely a move. e5, bishop g5, I don't think. Well, once again, this is extremely, superficial analysis, because I don't really know anything here, and it's obviously a complicated position. Maybe e5, bishop g5, d4 is playable, but it's...
I'm just wondering, because the knight b3 move was such a big threat, and people were surprised with queen d8, saying that, oh, queen d8 is like a mistake, computer says this and that. How else do you play? Like, how else?
Well, I think maybe bishop
goes.
e7. There's also this move bishop b4, but I think it's probably just not good because of rook c1. And also people are correctly pointing out that we're ignoring a very, very important option for white, which is
Long castle.
long castle, which is something they often do in this variation. Although normally they castle long with the knight on f3, because when you castle long, very often, like the old main lines of this variation, were actually castles here, to which black replies with something like bishop e7, for instance, and then Kasparov in particular popularized this line. There is, for instance, immediate h4 here. There is also, I think, a ton of theory connected with g4, bishop takes, e5, and g5. There was a lot of theory.
Yeah, white has to be fast, otherwise long castle and a3 is giving black something to think about b5, b4.
Yeah, in particular, I think maybe even in this position, they just... there was some position in which black just gave this pawn up. Maybe not entirely here, because here I don't really understand what I'm doing after cb5. Yeah. But there are some positions in this line where maybe it was bishop d7, and then if white goes h4, maybe they were playing b5 here, because now you have the square. And then the rook comes to c8, and black has a lot of play on the clean side.
It does look scary for me, because white's attack is a bit slower than black's, I guess.
Sure, yeah. So, long castle is an extremely sharp line. And in general, you want the knight on f3 very much in these lines, because it controls, as you mentioned correctly, the central squares d4 and d5, making it much harder for black to push anything in the center. So you control the prescribed way of replying, which is obviously the counterattack in the center. And in this position, castles definitely exists as a move, but you feel a little bit awkward making it.
I also feel that after a3 we want to have some kind of space on queenside with b4 and rook d1, have short castle, but if we have king on queenside, then we cannot do any of this. So, to my tastes, I would castle short side, have rook in the center, and try to attack on queenside.
Yeah, and also stylistically, I think it's much more in keeping with what Magnus likes to do in chess, to try and go for stable advantages here, like the ones you just described, as opposed to castling queenside and going for positions where, if something goes wrong, you could actually face a direct threat on the queenside. And we'll see what happens. But I think long castles is maybe the least likely of all the moves. And
Magnus takes a bit of time, which means that, okay, queen d8 is not maybe the main move. And
no, I don't think... Can you imagine missing queen d8 in preparation here? I don't think it's possible.
No, I don't imagine, because knight b3 is just such a big threat. But maybe he has like 2-3 options, and he's choosing like which one he wants to play.
That is possible.
Yeah.
That is possible. Once again, we have people in chat saying which move was played, but as usual, we will await confirmation from our own live board before we start analyzing the next position.
Yeah, the question is like what happens after b4, but I guess we already mentioned that b4 we think it's a bit too early. Nothing very wrong with it, but maybe too early. First we need to castle.
Yeah, I don't.
Or stabilize situation in center.
I would feel that way, but I mean it's not a bad move. But after, let's say after bishop b7, once again d4 is a bit of a threat, and if you play rook d1 here, I was wondering if maybe
also a5.
Yeah, even a5, but I don't really have a good square for this knight after b5.
Yeah,
in general, a5 b5 is very much in black's favor, but if you have to go knight b8,
c5 square.
Yeah, but if you have to go knight b8, you're not enjoying this as much as you would like.
Yeah, if I had my knight on d7 already and knight c5, that would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be absolutely perfect here. You're right. And there's also often in positions like this, black just plays bishop d6 and says, I'm not very worried about this structure. Let's say takes. Once again, probably rook d1. And the queen can go to e7, and then white is faced with a choice of either doing this, and yes, now black has a nice Alani, but also the bishop will get developed to g4, and also this rook comes out, and once again, you would like this pawn on b2.
Yeah.
In particular, in this structure, you really want the knight on c3 to have a very solid foundation with a pawn on b2.
Yeah, I now see we are missing the dark squared bishop, because I think that removing dark squared bishop is in black's favor a bit, because if I had my bishop on g5, then maybe I would not be doing that bad. Bishop g5, bishop d6, queen b2, maybe I could go, the d5 pawn would be weak, so...
Yeah, in this precise position, yes, but I don't think, I mean, we can't really get to that. If you play bishop g5 here, I will very seriously start considering going d5, d4 already. And
see, if I start with cd5, e5, bishop ed5, right? Or maybe knight d5.
I was wondering if I can do this and this, but you're not taking on b7. You're probably playing something like knight f3 here, because cb7, bishop b7, black is probably already better because of just how much control over the entire board those bishops provide. But after knight f3, it's kind of awkward to play.
Yeah, and we have knight b3, as Kasparov mentioned. If you said A, continue with B.
Sort of, yeah. This is, I think, the first confirmed instance of our entire chat trying to convince us a move was played which wasn't. What are you doing, people?
Come on, you're trying to trick us.
What are you doing?
We anyway have tough times.
Yeah, I mean, this is hard enough as is without the trusted companions of the Chess24 chat people trying to lead us astray. I'm gonna take stars away from that for that. You're gonna get deranked for that. Anyway, where does the bishop go?
Yeah, bishop d6 is one of the options, right? And bishop e7. I don't consider any other.
Well, bishop b6 is sometimes playable, actually, but maybe not in this position. I think bishop d6 and bishop e7 are the main two moves.
I'm just wondering, in whose favor is exchanging these bishops? I still think it's black.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and in particular in this position, like if we look at this position, it's a lot less comfortable, I think, for black than the ones we discussed earlier, because I think we can sort of wait with c takes d5 until we feel we are ready. And if you play queen e7, yeah, I was wondering if I can actually just accept this pawn sacrifice, but it looks dodgy. With respect to Mr. Dodgy, this looks risky.
Yeah.
Because black will immediately follow it up with rook ac8, and it feels like...
We're not developed.
Yeah, we're just not developed enough here to allow all this. But let's say after queen e7 we go cd5, ed5. Probably ed5. There's also some argument for maybe taking a pair of knights off. For the same reason. But I just want to play like some position like this. Because I think white will be capable of stopping d5, d4.
Yeah, and if it
castling.
happens, then in Isolani, if we exchange many pieces, it's in white's favor, right? Like, who is attacking either isolated pawn tries to trade pieces.
Yeah, and people have made their careers seemingly effortlessly defending positions like this. For instance, I think Vishy is extremely proficient at holding these types of structures, and in general, people who play the QGD aren't afraid of positions like this nearly as much as, let's say, I would be, because I don't really have any experience playing this from the black side, and I wouldn't, instinctively know which pieces to keep, which pieces to trade. But I think, once again, I would need confirmation. Let's say I would very much like a third opinion, because I think we both kind of like this for white, right?
Yeah.
But maybe Sasha, when he comes on, tells us it's completely safe for black, and then we have to listen to him. But I think, like, some position like this, in particular, if I would, I'm wondering if I should actually start with 94 here, hoping you take Rook c8, I go Queen d2, and then I castle, because after castles Rook a c8, I don't know where this queen belongs, because I would like to go 94 and I would like to take with the rook. And it seems like I have to make a move like Queen d2, after which taking with the rook will be difficult for a while.
And Rook
But
d8.
Rook f8. Maybe it's not very much.
94 still.
Yeah, 94, but I think, once again, like, I think QGD specialists just think this is a draw. It's not. It's one of those positions which is. It will sound a bit strange, but there is this type of positions which are not equal, but they are a draw.
They're just draw.
But they are a draw, because an experienced defender just knows what to allow, what not to allow, and he will not lose it.
Yeah.
Black cannot really equalize this position, because the pawn on d5 will be on d5 forever, but he will just not lose in practical play. But yeah, I don't know. It would be somewhat unpleasant for me, for instance, to play.
Yeah, and another interesting option, of course, is to go bishop e7 in.
Yeah, and before we go too deep with bishop d6, there's also bishop e7. But once again, I'm pretty sure we go rook d1 here to stop d4, to stop e5. And well, this looks awkward.
It does, but
This looks awkward.
Fabiano always surprises us with his preparation, actually.
Yeah. But exactly how in this position? Can you play e5? Maybe this is the point somehow, that black can actually play e5 here. But there's so many things.
Yeah, take on d5 with...
Because I thought it was only cd5, but actually knight...
Tempting!
Yeah, actually knight takes d5
That
might be
is
even
so
stronger.
Tempting.
Because I had this very cute tactic after c takes d5 I had prepared. Here I wanted with black to play knight b4.
That's nice, and then take
a
it.
b4, create this weakness on b4 for the bishop, and then take on f4.
And d6 doesn't work with
Well,
knight b4. There's a check!
There's a check. I was holding it in this precise, and he makes the move which we kind of discounted, so we can stop discussing this.
That was my fault, sorry.
Yeah, no, I agreed with you. I agreed with you. I didn't think this was particularly likely.
Yeah, well, it supports d4 ideas, so...
It does, but how do you react to
see-
Rook d1? I think
yeah.
Rook d1 is the most topical reply here as well. Once again, with an honorable mention of long castles, but I think it's much less the type of move that Magnus makes here. And actually, bishop b6, I think this hints very heavily he wants to go for some e5 d4 counterplay, because the difference is, let's say after rook d1 we can play e5, and now knight takes d5 is not a move at all, because ef4, knight takes f6,
Queen is
and
not
the
hanging
queen can
anymore.
actually take, because there is no bishop on e7 which would get in the way.
Yeah.
So this tactic does not exist, and if you take cd5, ef, dc6, after queen e7, I'm sort of already taking black here.
Yeah.
Because the pin is very unpleasant, the pawn on e3 is hanging. If you play e4, I just take on c6. It's just a fantastic position, and we didn't even have to sacrifice anything.
But I guess since bishop is not on c5, so he cannot go on e7, it would be valid to count on bishop g5, either with after rook d1 or before as well, right?
Well, I think if you go bishop g5 here,
Yeah, it's losing tempo.
It's less effective because I can even maybe start with d4.
Ooh.
And after Rook d1...
e5 will transpose.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is now black has additional options. I mean, I can still go e6, e5 and transpose, or I can maybe interpose h6 and see if what that gives me. It gives black options which did not exist in the original position, which generally is...
Yeah, it's kind of a sacrifice, or not.
Here?
No. Yeah, I
I'm
thought
not
c5
sure.
I have, but you can take on c3.
I was also trying to calculate
knight
this.
e4 and with c4.
Because I wanted to...
Afterwards?
Yeah, queen e5 and maybe just c4, c5. This could actually win the g4 pawn.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is actually potentially quite sharp.
Yeah.
And also good news for Magnus is that he is playing quite quickly, and he should still very much know what's going on.
Yeah, and I read like c5, bishop c7, but I think that c5 is not a very good move in sense that we are taking this tension from the center.
Yeah, exactly.
And black is just black has free hands to play in the center with
And
e5, d4.
If I'm allowed a little derail, there's this line in the English. Let's go all the way back. There is this line in the English. Here they go a3, bishop c5, knight b3, bishop b6, c5, bishop c7.
But this is different. Pawn is on d7.
No, hang on a second. And also here there is bishop f4, d5, c5, and bishop c7.
Oh yeah.
And the reason I bring this up is that here white actually gets the knight to d6 with check. And even these positions are quite unclear. And in the current position, we will be basically having the same structure, exactly the same structure, but black is perfectly developed with the king on g8, and white didn't really do very much in the meantime. So I think c5, bishop c7 is, I mean, it's playable. White is probably not worse yet, but I think it's not the most principled way of playing this position. I think either, once again, the three moves that I would consider like overwhelming favorites for Magnus to play here are Rook d1, long castles, and your move bishop g5, which does make sense. I just think that it's probably wiser to wait for e5 before you play bishop g5.
Yeah, Rook d1 is like very natural. You really want to, like in blitz, probably Rook d1 is automatic.
More or less, yeah. I think your hand kind of wants to play Rook d1 here.
Yeah. Let's see.
And obviously white can play bishop b2, but I think completely ignoring the fact that black wants to push g4, e5 is slightly strange, because why would you give black so much freedom? And it's not even clear that the bishop has, that e2 is the best square for it, so I think it's less likely. And knight a4 was mentioned in chat, but I think once again, knight a4, you're taking a piece from a decent square, and you're not even winning this. I mean, winning in the sense that you're not even trading it for a knight here.
Mr. Dodge is saying, I'd play long castle before realizing Rook d1 is valid.
Yeah. That is how some people think, and we must commiserate with them.
Yeah. Let's see what Magnus will play, and we will get into his mind after he plays the move. Interesting match situation. 6 draws so far. Magnus having white. He really needs to put some pressure today.
Yeah, he would very much like to sort of buck the trend and finally press with white. I think out of the 6 games we've seen, the only micro moment when somebody was better with white was after move 14 in game 3.
Yeah.
And that lasted for
Fabiano.
And that lasted basically for one move.
Yeah.
And then the
5
position.
minutes.
Yeah, and then the position. Okay, the computer says Fabio was still slightly better, but you had the feeling that after bishop d2, rook a8 in that game, that Magnus will no longer really be particularly hard pressed to hold, and he even pressed a little bit further down the road.
For whom do you think psychologically is tougher to continue and play this match with such results?
I think Magnus will be a lot more unnerved if this continues, and I remember we asked Sasha on air about this, and he agreed.
Yeah.
And he agreed with that as well.
Yeah, Sasha said, I think, that he expects that Magnus will collapse at some point because it was same in Karyakin Carlsen match, and he collapsed because he lost the first game.
Well, collapse, I mean, I think is maybe
yeah.
a little bit strong, but if this series of draws continues, I think he will become a lot more unhappy about it than Fabiano does, which is slightly illogical actually, because it brings him closer to tie breaks, which, as we keep on repeating, should favor him quite heavily. But I mean, I think he takes pride in his ability to win chess games.
Yeah, in
classical time control, as well as all other kinds of chess games. But
yeah.
I mean, classical time control chess games as well. And for him to go winless for this long,
and second match already, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might affect him, of course.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember in the European Club Cup. He started, by winning his first game, and I think then he went maybe 4 games without a win.
Yeah, and it was...
I think he drew against Donchenko, he drew against Ding, he drew against me, and he drew against Radek.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm missing one game, but I don't think he won it either. So that's a number of games in the European Club Cup, and now 6 here. I understand these are 2 completely different tournaments, but for him, I mean, the streak continues.
Darye tweeted that he's counting the draw streaks, and it's 11. Yeah, it's 5 games in European Club Cup and 6 here.
Yeah, and people are saying Long Castles is very strong here. It's once again, I wouldn't be surprised, but
you have to be brave.
You have to be braver. I mean, it doesn't look like you're risking very much immediately, but these types of... Maybe one of the reasons this is stronger is that, for instance, in this position, this already makes a lot more sense because the king is not only 1, and we will be able to just take on f4 if we want. Arrows, my nemesis, the arrows.
And maybe also black's attack is not very direct, since the bishop is on b6, it kind of closes the b pawn.
But honestly, even here, I'm not sure white is better after something like maybe now queen c7 to keep an eye on this, and I want to win the pawn back. And if you take, those bishops are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Those are some very nice bishops.
This is perfect.
Yeah, those are some very, very strong bishops. Yeah. So maybe the idea is to play bishop g5, d4, knight d5, and play a position like this. And yeah, you wouldn't be...
And having king on c1, right?
Yeah.
Like pawn, c4 pawn protects us? Is that the point?
I think more to the point, black has no real answer to the pin on this diagonal, so the pawn structure on the king side is about to get ruined here. But still, like some position like this, bishop e6, we take on f6 with something. I'm guessing maybe the bishop and then bishop d3, hitting the pawn on h7.
And if we kind of ignore it, that it is hanging and play rook c8?
Yeah, I'm really unsure who is better here. Actually, maybe there is an even more radical... No. Maybe yes.
Taken rook c8.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, yeah. Maybe I can go sort of full caveman mode here and do this.
But maybe take on h7 and bishop f5,
yeah. Because my original mistake was I thought I can play knight b4 here with a double
c8.
attack, but queen takes c8 and we have the heavy pieces on the back rank in the wrong order to win material. But actually in this position, I can still continue, let's say queen takes d5, bishop c8, rook c8. And after king b1, well, I currently don't see how to continue, but maybe there is, I mean...
Well, first,
Actually, this is playable. Because after queen d3, I go e4, and how do you protect the knight on b3?
But I don't have any other options, right?
After knight e7? Well, once again, the knight will be hanging.
If I go e4 myself.
Ah, that's a very good spot.
Yeah.
Well played. Yeah, I guess I will be forced to go rook c2, rook f2, but I should be worse here. d6.
Though these pawns.
No, I mean,
still, right?
if I will be
Yeah.
able to pick up the g pawn, I will be fine. But I'm not sure I will be able to.
Yeah.
It's a strange position. Like knight f5, d7, king f8. But then I will have to trade a pair of rooks. I don't like to trade a pair of rooks here.
Yeah, this is not what
Yeah.
Black wants.
So, but again, let's not get carried away because this is move 24, and we are currently at move 11 in a completely different situation. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's long castles leads to all kinds of potential craziness, at least, and I mean, we obviously very much welcome those ideas, but
Yeah, and probably Magnus is just. I don't think he's out of preparation because, as you said, Queen d8 and Bishop b6 is not should not be a surprise. I just think that he kind of really is deciding what he wants to play, because if he went again for Queen's Gambit declined, then he might have 2-3 options on every move. This was expected.
yeah, I think so. And people are saying that Bishop b6 is the official novelty already. Queen d8 already was quite rare, and Bishop b6 is more or less completely fresh. But once again, I think when you
3 moves.
yeah, but I think when you're preparing for the World Championship match, you don't really, in a position like this, if you start looking at 92, the database is not your biggest friend. You use your eyes and you analyze everything. You cannot really ignore any candidate move here. So I think, Queen d8, knight b3. If all the games in practice,
of course,
we're concentrated on Bishop d6 or Bishop b7, you still analyze Bishop b6.
is considered. It's for sure.
Yeah, but I guess it's not the main move in the file because I don't think either of them is very much, into the type of quote-unquote trickery, trying to fool your opponent into thinking you don't know very much. And
Bishop e2.
he played Bishop e2. That's curious. That is curious and also somewhat disappointing. Once again, I don't think it's a bad move, but it kind of signals a quieter game.
Yeah.
Compared to what we could have gotten.
And I think it resembles to what happened in game 2, right? Because I mean that there also, when Rook d8 happened, he didn't go for very critical knight d2 because he said that I didn't want to face Fabiano's team and preparation. And here as well, he went for quiet Bishop e2. There also Bishop e2, he said that I wanted just to have something more stable and calm. So maybe he's
sure,
not.
But I think that the parallel is not really, entirely justified because he was the first one to start a new thread, so to speak, because he didn't play Rook d1, move 10. He played knight d2. It is his deviation, and. I'm slightly mystified at what's going on here because.
But Lone Castle was aggressive and Rook d1.
But even Rook d1, I don't even necessarily insist on castling here. Castles is an attempt to get the most. This is, I think, quite clearly in most of these positions when you can castle long, you are trying to get the absolute most out of position, including some risks. That there definitely will be some risks connected with this decision, but. Bishop e2 compared to Rook d1 feels like a bit of a cop-out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if black is already immediately equal. Like, I don't really see how to instantly equalize. I mean, it does give black the option of taking on c4.
With tempo, because Bishop already lost.
Yeah, and this is also a very famous dance in all these Queen's Gambit and in particular Queen's Gambit, but also in the Slav often you see this little dance where white attempts to make all kinds of improving moves, keeping the bishop on f1, so that you take on c4 in one tempo, not from e2 or d3, but from f1. And here he will have taken on c4 in two moves once again. What is this arrow doing here?
Yeah, though in this exact position, maybe what he's playing for is d6 square, right?
Yeah, but okay, let's say we go... maybe not immediately. Maybe I start with queen e7. I don't know. I should.
Yeah, rook d1.
Rook d1. I could even maybe consider playing rook d8 here.
Castles.
Castles. We go.
I
Maybe
think this
maybe h6 with the idea of e6 e5
Yeah.
because the immediate e6 e5 allows bishop g5, which would be very worrying with
Yeah.
knight d5 coming in.
Yeah, h6 is the move you want to have in the position.
Yeah, h6, and I mean these types of positions, it's not entirely equal because obviously white is currently a lot more active, but also the structure is completely symmetrical. Black has no weaknesses, and if he somehow manages to you know, trade something, get the bishop to d7, play rook c8, and not lose, or let's say concede too much in the process, not allow white some kind of immediate improvement. It's not going to be easy to prove that white has anything concrete.
Yeah, e5 is a big threat now. And
Yeah, let's say if we make some kind of a non-move like h3.
what to play for.
Yeah, it feels like black is reasonably comfortable in positions like this.
Yeah.
So that's one option, and of course we can still discuss all this stuff. But I guess this is sort of the point of what Magnus is doing. He is trying to get a similar position to what we're discussing, but with
king to a safer
yeah,
side.
but with the king which will have the option of going to a much safer side, and you know, once again, you have to continue discussing the bishop e6 move, but.
Well, first of all, he can take bishop, right?
Yeah, takes, and make a move.
I thought bishop, like b6.
Ah, take the bishop.
The bishop, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Because queen b6, bishop f6.
Yeah, bishop f6.
But then your pawn on d3 is hanging. Like dynamically, black can maybe afford something like this. Although maybe even just e4, knight d4. We take, we go rook d1, and we claim we're slightly better.
Tiny bit.
But a tiny bit, because we will white would need a knight on the board to exploit all those weak squares, because black will just play king g7 at some point and start trading on the d file. It's not horrible for black, but yeah, you can probably claim that white is slightly better here.
Maybe it's not pleasant to play with this with black. I mean, it's holdable, of course, but yeah, white to go for it. Maybe black has other options.
Yeah, so let's try and list more options. I think if you play d4, white probably will be obliged to play rook d1, because something like knight a4, e5 immediately feels a lot better for black, because the knight is not jumping to d5.
Yeah, rook d1 is...
So it's either rook d1 or long castles, but I think if we wanted to castle long, we would do it on a previous...
yeah,
we would do it on a previous move. E5, bishop g5, and maybe here bishop e6 to stop. Okay, we have knight e4 though. Yeah, it's very difficult to stop something like that happening. Maybe we go h6 first.
I'll take.
Queen takes, knight g5, I guess. Yeah. I was planning to go queen g5 and pretend I have some counterplay on the king side, but I don't know if I myself believe that or not. I
would probably castle, but then
the thing, yeah, e3 is hanging. I think this is the issue. Bishop h3 you can ignore. I think bishop h3, bishop f3 is not really a threat, but the fact that the e3 pawn is hanging is quite relevant.
Yeah. Queen g5 is also interesting, but I guess also that black doesn't have time for prophylactics and play something like h6 after bishop e2, because then rook d1 comes.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think you can waste a full tempo on something like h6 here.
Yeah, either d4, dc, or...
Once again, we've already been completely wrong once, but I would say it's either d4, e5, or d takes c4. I'd be extremely surprised if something else got played here.
Yeah.
We'll see.
D4 is the move for black. D4, they are supporting.
No,
this
I think
idea.
of the moves e5 and d4, d4 is by far the more logical, because if we compare those two positions, here white can play rook d1 or white can play knight d5.
Yeah.
And if you start with d4,
Then rook d1 is a must.
then in this position you have limited white's options to strictly rook d1 and the knight on d5. I mean, if white, it might still get there in the next moves, but not right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And instead of e5 after d4, rook d1.
Well, I
Is
think
there
white is
anything?
threatening already to win material. Like if you make, once again, let's make a move just to illustrate. Yeah, I will take,
Yeah,
take,
this
take, and
is-
there is bishop e5 in the
Yeah.
end. Using the pin, and black, I think, well, not winning material. You do have bishop takes c3, but I think if your choice is this position or this position, I'm choosing this one. It's not good, but I'm definitely choosing this one because I think this one is just completely horrible.
I'm just wondering if he can play for some tactic, like instead of h6, maybe queen e7, so that in the end, when you take everything on d4, I have e5. Yeah,
d4, hang
d4,
on,
rook
d4, rook d1, queen
Queen
e7,
e7, I don't know what is it.
e4. But I think you will end up just being a pawn down there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it works in the sense that I actually even maybe...
Rook, yeah.
There's also
but
rook
bishop
e4.
f5.
But you're not threatening to win anything, so I think maybe I can play bishop g5.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. But also, even if I didn't have that option, and the point of rook e4, of course, is that if you take the rook, I take with the queen, and you cannot take because of the pin again. But even if I didn't have any of that, I think I can just take, play queen d2, and castle next move.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, and once again, maybe we were unnecessarily critical of bishop e2 because, I mean, we've been let down by chat already once today, but people are saying that Sasha still enjoys this position quite a bit with white, and maybe Magnus just needed some time to remember what the preparation says.
And we have Suat Atalik also in the chat saying hi to us. Hi, and he's saying that this one is prepped by Carlsen.
Yeah, would be strange if it wasn't. Once again, he did spend more than 20 minutes already by move 12, when up to move 10 everything was blitzed out by both sides. So knight b3 and in particular bishop e2 took him some time to play.
To remember.
But probably to remember rather than to choose.
Also, sometimes he just likes to think maybe. Not necessarily that he's remembering something, but he gives opponent an impression that, okay, either he's remembering or he's out of book, like what happens.
Yeah, and people are now correcting the previous statements about Sasha, and I understand it feels slightly stupid for us to quote what chat says about Sasha when we can have Sasha open ourselves in a different tab. But we tried that one day because something curious was happening on the board, and I found that even if I don't know what it says, the problem with Sasha as a web page is that even if you have it open inactive, it still gives you the evaluation in the name of the tab. And once you have that evaluation on the screen where you can see it, it's extremely difficult to ignore it.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, and it's I find it very difficult to not factor the Sasha evaluation into what I think about the position. And we are trying here to give you an almost completely sort of fully human view of how the game is progressing. So we're not doing Sasha ourselves. Queen e7 played by Fabi, and once again the moment he plays a move, you think, why didn't I mention this is quite natural? Yeah, because you sidestep all those pins. You want to play rook d8 next move, arguably,
And
overprotecting, or I mean protecting the pawn on d5, and you will have time to push for e5 d4 later if you want it, but for now you're just not committing to anything yet.
You might also consider d takes c4 at some point, as there is no rook d1 after that. And yeah, d4 also keeps to be an option, but maybe we can take now on d5. And
For sure.
probably E takes, right?
I think in this situation, I would actually very seriously consider taking with the knight.
Because of bishop g5.
Yeah, to never have to calculate bishop g5, let's say castles, bishop b6. I think this is just comfortable for black because rook d8, rook c8.
Yeah, it's very open.
Yeah, and the difference is the queen on e7 is very, very nice. And the queen on c2 will actually have to be shuffled around quite seriously here because it gets under all kinds of tempi.
And because of a3, the knight is vulnerable on b3. After d4, the bishop e6, it attacks. So knight b3 is not a good piece. We have to do something with it, either knight d4. But now bishop b6 is good.
Yeah, now the bishop on b6 makes perfect sense. Yeah, and Suat is saying that bishop b7, as we suspected, bishop b7 is much more popular than queen d8. And after knight b3, just to kind of finish up this this talk, we have now with us a grandmaster who has a decent amount of experience with this line. After knight b3, there's also queen b6 here. So the position they had after queen d8, in particular queen d8 and bishop b6, is a very fresh take on a reasonably old, well-known line. And yeah, we continue with our opinion that probably rook d1 or long castles was more critical than bishop b2.
Yeah. I've once heard that new thing is forgotten good old lines. So, yeah. When it's not played that much, or it was played like 10 years ago, and then you see it on the board, you're like, oh, this is something new.
Yeah, for sure. So many of things which are quite trendy now are just revived from the game of old masters, and there's plenty of examples of things which are kind of cutting edge theory being just people digging up old ideas and putting a new spin on them.
Yeah, and then just take big part in that, because it's completely can change a line which was considered to be a bad line. And if you analyze it with engine, you might have zeros, so you're like, okay, why not to try it?
Yeah.
Engine plays big role in
but
chess.
Also I'm wondering, in particular against rook d1, and I understand we're kind of going back to what already did not happen, but even after rook d1, I'm beginning to suspect queen e7 may have been a very possible reply to it, because we looked at something similar earlier. Pawn sacrifices like this, I think, are quite attractive from the black side, with rook c8 to follow. So black perhaps was not obliged to react to queen e7. And the point maybe once again of castling long is that if you play queen e7 here, white might start considering all of those. I don't know how well they work here, but g4 or h4, some move like that, with just, you know, at least attempting to start something on the king side, which is, it obviously works better when your king is not in the center.
Yeah.
But okay, this is all gone, and what we have now is
Queen e7.
this position.
Yeah. e5 castle short.
Yeah,
Just
arguably.
to take it, everything.
Yeah, arguably we won some time for. I mean, not time necessarily, but it's less threatening if you consider these positions, because bishop d6 is not immediately threatened. We were looking at how are we getting
rook d1.
Yeah, we had this position after.
Let's say d takes c4.
I'm looking at instead of queen e7, dc4, bishop c4, queen e7. We were starting with rook d1 here and only castling after rook d8. But I think maybe there's not that much difference, because if you take bishop c4 and you play bishop d7 here and white goes rook fd1, bishop d6 is actually quite annoying here, and there's no comfortable way of stopping it. So you might still have to play something like rook d8 where it will just transpose. Arguably, it's maybe even slightly better for white than the other line, because we now have rooks here and here instead of here and here.
Yeah.
And the other one can go to c1 in some positions.
The right rook.
Yeah. The correct rook. Yeah. So castles is a move, of course. Other options would be, I guess, rook d1. We discussed cd5, but I don't really like cd5 in this position. I think it shouldn't give very much at all. And as usual, the more time goes on, without the brilliance of Sasha to join us, the more people start screaming at us to bring him on. But
soon.
yeah, soon, but not just yet. Have faith.
Bishop g5. I'm stubborn.
Yeah, I don't blame you, but I can maybe even include Rook d8 for the time being.
Let's say castle. But I don't know why I'm doing this.
I think you're supposed to put some pressure.
Yeah,
but
I will take with then.
But actually, I don't even. Maybe I can just take on c4 here.
Yeah, take.
Play h6, bishop h4, and now just make a developing move of some sort.
97
bishop.
94 is
95 is maybe a good move. This is why I played h6. I'm actually not that unhappy about the idea of playing g5 in certain positions. I want to be able, like, my initial idea was to play bishop d7, and if you do play knight e4, I can play g5, knight f6, queen f6, bishop g3, and I think, you know, the king side should be reasonably safe.
Yeah.
Once again, I just play rook c8 and start creating play in the center.
This doesn't look... my king is still in the center.
But there's also knight e5, hitting this bishop on c4, and if you play bishop
tempos.
e2, I can go knight g6 and just unpin myself.
Yeah, this doesn't look
Bishop
good.
g3. Well, I mean, it's equal, but...
Yeah, I mean, there is no time to waste so much tempies with bishop g5.
Yeah, and Suat is actually very much in favor of bishop g5, which is an important stamp of approval. Because I honestly don't know what I'm doing here. It's not a position I feel particularly comfortable with. So castles is a move for sure, cd5 is a move, but I think it's unlikely. Bishop g5 I like, or at least I understand the point of.
Yeah.
There's also rook d1, but once again, now with the queen on e7, you play rook d1, black plays rook d8. It feels like you ask the question black definitely knows the answer to, and you still have to make a move. Like, nothing really changed in the position because black wants to play rook d8. Rook d8 is definitely something.
Wait, I didn't have any kind of knight b5 move?
Where?
Instead of all this?
Immediately now, maybe?
Yeah, queen e7, knight b5.
But I guess you're kind of forcing me to play e5.
Ah,
right?
yeah. Because I wanted to play c5 on rook d8.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, that point is quite good, actually.
yeah, but...
Because we've taken away the c7 square and this bishop is in trouble. But yeah, knight b5, you're more or less forcing black to make a move he doesn't really hate making at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and now...
Yeah, this might be like a6 d4, right? No, then knight d5.
You might at some point start taking. Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm replying to this. Like, I'm probably starting with d takes c4, bishop takes. I'm playing h6 to have the g5 option, and then maybe just bishop e6 here or something.
Yeah.
It would be quite playable for white if not for this weird knight on b5, which we didn't have to place there.
I went there myself.
Yeah.
When is Anish joining? Anish is joining not today, not tomorrow, but when game 9 he will join.
Yeah, starting from game 9 we will have a slight...
Dream team.
Yeah, well, one way of describing it.
Yeah. Queen e7, and we are waiting for Magnus's choice.
Yeah, you can maybe... No. I was about to say that for those who liked c5 on previous moves, you can maybe make an argument for playing c5 here, because if black plays bishop c7, we have won a tempo.
Yeah.
Because the queen did this. Arrows, don't do this to me. Black took on c7 once again in 2 moves instead of 1. But the problem with c5 is that my tactic, which I was so proud of, bishop takes, knight takes d5, actually allows black to trade a ton of material, and this probably is just completely equal, because we can play... No, actually, how equal is this? And long castles here. This might not be entirely equal.
Well, not this, but maybe something with bishop
No, well, you can probably play knight d4
Yeah.
here. This is the correct move.
Yeah.
Because you threaten knight c2 check, and you're also hitting this bishop on e2, which is very important because
And then bishop.
because you cannot play long castles, because that blunders a piece.
And bishop f3 is not there as well.
Yeah, and if white has to play something like bishop d3 or rook c1, then we can play b6 next move. Oh, b6 next move. So yeah, c5 I don't really think is any good.
Yeah, Suat is saying even queen of 6 instead of exchange, but I guess that exchange is also fine for black.
Yeah, queen f6 is a good spot as well, but I was just like, if there is one good reply to what I'm suggesting, I'm not looking for another one because it just means the c5 will not be played. But we do take the point that queen f6 is quite strong there, so that is correct.
Okay, tension in the center.
But yeah, you keep on coming back here to the decision not to play something more forcing on the previous move.
Yeah.
And
Somehow there is so much problems with this c8 bishop, like how to develop. I really don't want to take on d5 and open the diagonal for
no,
the
I
bishop.
think c d5 is unlikely, and
We will see.
yeah, bishop g5 played, so full
Okay.
full credit to you.
Thanks.
Full credit to you, and but wouldn't you rather have the
Yeah,
rook
I
on
don't
d1 here? I just like it-
Usually when I suggest moves and it happens on the board, it's not a good
No,
sign.
no, I'm not criticizing you. I'm still kind of surprised by the bishop on e2. Like,
Yeah.
if we were quite seriously discussing the idea of meeting, where is it? Here. Let me just find it. After rook d1, we were sort of seriously discussing the idea of playing queen e7 here.
Yeah,
But okay, we play bishop g5 here.
and we definitely
Yeah,
prefer that rook is on d1.
Of these two positions, we definitely won this one, not the other one.
Yeah,
Because I was actually taking on c4 in that line, so we will take in one go, and we have the rook on d1 compared.
no, this is
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, it's just, and I am very, aware of the fact that I am probably, everybody's annoying old uncle when I do this, but you play knight g2 in a line which you had a week to prepare for, and your opponent makes two rare moves, but not unthinkable moves. Like, there's a fork threatened, so you play queen g8 sidestepping the fork, and then you attack the bishop, and the bishop goes to one of the three legal moves that that black could make in this position. And why is the reply not blitzed out?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
If this is preparation, then yeah, why it's not? If not, how it's not a preparation? Like,
Yeah,
how can
like
you
we
miss
are,
it? Yeah.
we are two moves of we've gone two moves from a position which you certainly had a week to prepare, and you are happily testing Team Caruana preparation in a very topical line, and 4 ply later, it seems like you're at least slightly unsure about what's going on.
Yeah. But I guess we cannot say anything about Team Carlsen or Team Caruana because we don't know how the players feel. Team Carlsen and Team Caruana, they of course work all lines out, but then it's on players. He might think that, yeah, this is not my type of position. I'll play something on board or...
Yeah, I don't know. And it's not that I'm necessarily criticizing anyone. And if I am criticizing somebody, I'm not sure who I am criticizing, to be honest. Like, if it's Magnus or Team Magnus. And once again, having had some experience of working in this high-pressure situation, I know how difficult it is. I know that it's extremely hard to keep everything in check and to keep everything under control, and like, things sort of get away from you. But still, it's a bit strange.
Did it happen with you that you worked something for the guy and he just said that, yeah, it's fine, but I don't want to play it?
Yeah, this happens. This happens, and I mean, you take it in stride, because you know, at the final count, it is the player who has to be comfortable with what you're showing him, and if he just doesn't like the character of the positions you are offering, it is perfectly normal for him to say, yeah, I understand and you're probably right, but I just don't feel comfortable playing it, so let's look for something else. Yeah. But yeah, and yeah, people are extremely unhappy that it's already 5:04 and Sasha is still not here, but there is not really very. Let me do something I don't normally do and check if maybe he told me something in his messenger of choice, which is quite surprising what his messenger of choice is, to be honest, but no, today no messages for me.
No messages.
Yeah, because he was slightly late one day and I actually missed his message saying I will be 10 minutes late, but today he is currently offline.
Yeah, well, 5 minutes we can.
Yeah, but let's not get our collective panties in a twist. He will be here and he will be his usual brilliant self, and please bear with us a little bit longer. We can't be that bad, can we?
I don't know.
I mean, maybe we can. I mean, I said that with hope in my voice. Like I don't know the answer, but I'm hoping we're not so horrible that people, you know.
You definitely are not. But yeah.
And there are some suggestions in chat what his messenger of choice is, and they are quite interesting. But no.
Not again, yeah.
No, people are yeah, stars for that. I'm losing count, but you get some stars for that.
Upgrading again.
What's happening here? I mean, apart from DC4, which I still think is likely and probably quite playable, what are the other options? You can play Rook D8, I guess.
Yeah.
But you will have to revisit that decision because it's extremely likely that the pawn on D5 will be put under some pressure immediately.
Yeah, and also I'm interested, like, what happens if, let's say, we take on C4, bishop C4, and then another tempi knight E5.
Yeah, we were doing that, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing exactly that.
Yeah.
I started with H6.
Yeah,
I think bishop H4 is logical,
yeah.
and then knight E5. I think this is maybe the most straightforward line, and with that, I just want to say hi to Grandmaster Little Peasant talking about Team Caruana. So we have a designated representative of Team Caruana here, and we welcome Alejandro to our humble abode.
It's nice to have somebody from
maybe we can get him to explain what's happening in this position, because he might actually know.
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, and Suat is also asking what's happening after H6, I guess in this position. Yes, so Queen E7, Bishop G5. Maybe you can go for this, but I mean it is an actual pawn sacrifice which you need to justify. I thought maybe knight E7 is the point, but even if I just take and castle. Ah, there's Queen G5 in the end. Okay, hang on. E D5, knight D5, Queen G5, but don't I have knight F4 here?
Or bishop F3?
Or bishop F3, but bishop F3 maybe
yeah.
black continue winning tempi here, and it's slightly more awkward.
It is.
I don't know, but knight F4 there is bishop C7 though. Yeah, it's an interesting option.
But if I want to keep, maybe I can go H4.
Or even G3.
Or
I mean,
G3.
it looks kind of ugly, but
yeah, but pawn.
Yeah, but it's a pawn. If I castle kingside next move, I will be okay. And if you take on F4, I think black has no. Hang on, there's Queen D5 here. No, I was about to say black has no threatening moves, but this is actually quite threatening.
Ooh, that's
mate,
just.
Yeah, this is a way to lose an immediate exchange. Yeah.
H6 might be interesting.
On the other hand, I don't really know what changes if we ignore the offered pawn sacrifice. I mean, in general, H6, bishop H4, black should welcome, but
yeah, I don't think that any kind of D4 knight D4, yeah.
D4, I mean, in some cases, white even takes twice and goes Rook D1 and says, since you probably don't want to play E5, knight D5,
yeah.
you will have to play something like. I've had these positions, well, not this precise position, but positions like this we looked at when I was helping Sasha, who we are still waiting for him to come online. When I was part of Team Grischuk for the candidates in Kazan 2011, I want to say, and the Queen's Gambit decline was a huge topic in those matches. Everybody with black was basically playing Queen's Gambit decline, so we had to look at these positions, preparing for each of our three opponents in a row. It was Sasha played Aronian in the round of 8, then Kramnik in the semis, and Gelfand in the final, and all of them played Queen's Gambit decline.
Yeah, there are really times for these openings.
Yeah.
I had a funny moment when I was playing recently in Isle of Man. I was playing against Norwegian Johan Sebastian, and he didn't play. He was always going for Catalan, and he played d4. I played knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3, and I don't usually play bishop e7. I always play c6 or without knight f6 or with. And somehow I wanted to like get out of preparation or something, so I played bishop e7. And then I started to walk the whole hall just to see that maybe somebody has it. Like, you know, there were 70 boards, and I couldn't manage to find Queen's Gambit declined.
Really?
I couldn't manage it. I mean, it was so disappointing.
That was, I understand it was disappointing, but to me the main emotion would be shock.
Yeah, I was also shocked.
Because I would think everybody is playing this opening these days. Like there should be plenty of them.
No, I couldn't find even one game.
Yeah, and then in this position, I would very seriously consider something like to return to the position we have on the board. Something like g5 and e5, locking this guy in, and then trying for some bishop e6, rook ac8 positions. But I mean, it's very concrete. Positions like this are incredibly concrete, and if black does manage to finish development and not make too many concessions in the center, it's fine. If he doesn't, it's obviously not that great.
Yeah.
But once again, we are waiting for a move after bishop g5, and my policy would be, like, if I were in control of the white pieces here and my opponent started thinking here, I would probably, like, and I understand that it's not what everybody does, and I'm not even sure it's that great as a policy, but I often just wait for my opponent to make a move before I kind of resume calculating, because I think in a position like this the options are so varied that you can actually kind of exhaust yourself to a degree looking, well, not switching your mind off and continuing to analyze every single black option here. It's tiresome, it's difficult, and also there's probably something like 5 legal moves in this position, and only one of them will be played. So in a position like this, where it's unlikely, it's a life-changing decision and you need to get it correct, my policy in practice would be to just switch off a little bit, or if something worries me, if there's a particular option I really don't like, then I would be quite seriously discussing it with myself. But it's this time of the day now.
Oh, who do we have?
Yeah, and I wonder if Magnus
here.
is also doing that right now.
Yeah. That's a great advice from Peter.
Once again, I'm not sure if this works for everybody, but for me, in particular, in positions where my opponent has like a great number of options, all of them seemingly very playable, I find it kind of somewhat pointless to try and figure out what he will play and what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can get the great Alexander Grischuk on the line.
And we already know I think, everybody's like, woohoo, good evening.
Yeah, people are high-fiving already. This is slightly alarming because
he was there
yeah.
just a minute ago.
Not sure what's going on because it's definitely ringing on our end.
Yeah, there he is.
And there he is.
Hello.
And we're live, so don't say anything you wouldn't say in front of your children or something.
So, good evening, dear viewers, Peter, Sopiko,
Hi there.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So tell us what's going on. In particular, tell us why Bishop E2 was played. We don't know.
So we have another childish preparation by Magnus. It's like, you know, when you are preparing, it should be like digging. You know, when you dig a big hole, you go the widest at the surface. You know, and
Yeah.
the deeper you go, the
Narrow it
smaller,
gets.
the smaller it becomes.
Yeah.
But his preparation is more like, you know, when you have a light, then actually the further you go, the wider will be the light. So it's like, I mean, every time he just misses a move on like move 1 or move 2 of his analysis with light.
I love your comparisons.
I mean, the most important thing is to check all possibilities on the very early stage. And then the deeper you go, okay, then the less important it becomes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of people do this mistake. I mean, they just start to analyze too late. I mean, you should start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It
No.
seems like already Queen D8 shocked him. I mean,
Do you really think that it was surprise for him, Queen D8? We thought that he's kind of pretending.
seems like. I mean, I liked very much the tweet of Anish. That after Queen D8, Knight F3 looks tempting, right?
For Anish.
Oh, he tweeted it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. There were also people screaming for Knight of 3 in chat here. It was. I mean, it's still a nice little bit of a joke, but yeah, it was sort of on the surface.
Yeah.
So if he was here commentating on this game, he would be right away. Oh, Knight of 3! Knight of 3!
Yeah.
We'll
I
see.
mean,
We'll see if
yeah,
that
yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was not watching live at this moment, but of course I would be just jumping out of my chair, you know, like, please, Knight F3, just please do it. I mean, don't hesitate. There is no shame in doing that.
Yeah. I don't know.
And I mean, it's funny, in the opening he tries this little trick with Knight F3, but of course nobody is going to start with E6 nowadays against Magnus especially. Because after E6 now Bishop F4 becomes more interesting, Bishop G5 becomes very interesting.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware it was so important, but honestly, I don't think D4, D5, Knight of 3, E6 is such a popular move order in general. Even if you don't.
No, it used to be. But I mean, it's because people were playing Queen's Indian.
Yeah.
But even some guys who played like Zen D5, they were for some reason starting with E6.
Yeah. Sorry, it wasn't D4, Knight F6 today. Yeah, I'm losing my mind slightly. But yeah, against Magnus, you want to keep all the London sub variations in check. But yeah, I was also obviously, you know, you're always going to be a lot more sharply critical of things they do than I am. It's just the nature of things. But I was also very surprised by what's going on because, I'm sure we talked about it during one of the earlier shows. To anybody who ever worked with Kramnik, or you know, spoke to Kramnik for 3 seconds. The idea that you don't just list all the legal moves in every single position and look at them just feels weird.
Yeah.
And
No, but you remember when once in Candidates in 2011 when I was playing the final against Gelfand,
yeah.
I told you, okay, you don't have to go deep, but just please analyze C5, E5 and B5 on every move.
Yeah, I knew this was coming up. I actually don't remember you saying that. I trust that you did tell me that, but like c5 and e5 registered in my head, and b5 just didn't register.
No, but white has queen on c4, so of course b5 is also. And and of course he plays b5 on move 2 of our analysis, and already white has to fight for equality.
Yeah, no, I'm very famous for being a perfect second. No blemishes on my second in career whatsoever. Don't listen to these people. Hire me. Everybody should hire me instantly. Like I'm very open for offers.
No, but actually I think the level of play is very high. I mean, there are very few mistakes. But the level of preparation with black is very high. It's just, I mean, still I cannot believe you cannot find anything with white. No, just any one idea. I mean,
just one.
Yeah, well, what's going on here? What would you play with black?
no, but I mean, those positions after dc4 in general, they also sort of a little bit disgusting for me. I mean, in general. I mean, I like, when the structure is interesting. Here, again, it's one of the most dual structures. I mean, I understand there are many pieces on the board, and the position may become very complicated. But at the moment, it's a little bit dual. And especially I have looked at some engine evaluations, and they also are not very promising.
So do they go 95, 96 there, or just ignore everything and develop?
Well, they just take, I think.
Yeah, but after that, do they? I mean, one line we were discussing is just doing this and 95, 96.
Without h6?
No, with h6. With h6, yeah.
No, this looks logical, but I don't know. I tried not to look the lines. I just looked at evaluation.
Yeah, okay.
Just first move, because then it will be hard for me to comment when I know exactly what they are saying. Then.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Stupid.
But there's also, we couldn't really refute even, let's say, Suat suggested this pawn sacrifice with the immediate h6, and if you don't accept it, then after bishop h4 maybe we can play d4 and go for sharper positions, slightly sharper positions anyway.
No, g4 I think is always slightly dangerous.
Yeah, this is what we were also discussing. Yeah, that d4 is a very double-edged sword in these types of positions.
Yeah, I mean also okay. At least engines were saying that black could play just dc4 instead of queen e7. I guess he was sort of tempted, because I guess if white played rook d1 instead of bishop e2,
yeah,
then he was going to play queen e7. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was just tempted by trying to transpose.
But now bishop g5, isn't it better version for white to have rook instead of bishop e2?
Maybe not. I don't know.
No, but in particular, if we're taking on c4 here, why wouldn't you start with rook d1? Is like very, very difficult for me to understand. Why are you playing bishop e2 instead?
I don't know. There might be something like I mean, just in general, some like start with h6, maybe sacrifice this pawn anyway. Although with rook d1 it doesn't look so great.
You mean rook d1, queen e7, bishop g5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, here I'm definitely taking the pawn. Yeah, with the rook on d1, I don't hesitate for a second.
Maybe we can take with rook even, right? He takes.
No, I don't think he
No, I don't want to take, I guess. Why we will just take with a knight?
Yeah.
Knight, yeah. Yeah, g2 is not there.
Yeah,
g5 is not there.
Yeah, I guess here it's. I'm not sure. I don't know what was the point here after rook d1.
Yeah, I think if the plan
e5.
Yeah, we were looking at this. Let's say e5, bishop g5, d4, knight d5. But I mean, it looks very playable for white.
And check, yeah, I guess.
Oh, this we missed. But does it work? Takes.
b4.
Takes b4.
Take a3.
Queen f6, bishop
take.
knight b4 or something. Yeah.
No, maybe take.
Yeah, I have no good follow-up.
Why? Rook. Yeah, e3 also hanging. Right?
No, because we cannot support this
Yeah.
knight, and Queen h7, King f6 is just a couple of checks.
Yes, doesn't work.
And if we go Knight h5, King h8, once again we don't really have a. I mean, we
Yeah,
hope
e3
we
hangs.
hope Knight f6 is a perpetual, but we're not sure,
Yeah,
and we don't want to beg for a draw here with white. So
maybe d3.
well, I don't know. I mean, we start with
Yeah.
Queen takes before, and after, let's say, Rook d2, we consider again.
Yeah.
So yeah, e5 d4. Yeah, bishop a5 check might be a very serious option.
Yeah, but I'm sure it was analyzed. Yeah, so it's just we are trying to find what they have already found. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
for sure.
Team of Fabiano.
Yeah, and we have I tried to get a member of Team Fabiano to tell us something in chat, but he is not. He's
not open.
yeah, seems to
Is it an open member or member in disguise?
fairly open.
Okay.
Fairly open, and yeah, I was hoping the old camaraderie will kind of prompt him to explain to us what's happening at the board, but it seems like his new loyalties are more important.
And actually, after bishop e2, it seemed like dc4 instead of queen e7 might be more, easier.
Takes
And then
takes.
we just point to play bishop d7 and knight e7 in some order. I mean, it looks quite harmonious actually.
So bishop d6, rook e8.
Maybe knight e7 even. No?
Even immediately knight e7, yeah. And then
And bishop
we,
c6,
we
no?
castle.
No, maybe rook c8. I don't know.
Yeah, and then just bishop c7 even in some positions, I guess.
Yeah, or bishop a4
Or
might
knight
be
knight
also,
fd5
yeah?
or bishop
If
bishop
bishop-
a4.
I mean, it just so much depends on.
No,
this
I
move.
meant if bishop
I
e2.
guess queen e2. I need to unpin
No,
myself.
bishop c7 looks just perfect.
Yeah, just looks equal.
Yeah.
Because
Knight
we
f5 coming also.
because we cannot keep it on this diagonal.
Yeah.
It gets driven away.
Maybe it's already.
Slightly better for black, I would
Black.
say. Yeah.
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 I mean, this looked, and it very because queen e7 is a little bit committal. I guess maybe he just has a different view on those positions because I would just try to play dc4 at some point. Since the knight doesn't stand great on b3 at all after that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you meet dc4 with knight d2, there is knight a5 even.
Yeah, even knight a5 is quite. Also, bishop c7 I think is quite playable, and
Yeah, maybe
Just
bishop
develop.
g5.
yeah, but okay. I mean, how bad can this be?
No, it can become unpleasant.
Yeah, it could become unpleasant. So yeah, knight a5 straight away. Rook d1, I guess.
Bishop d7.
Yeah, this way. Bishop d7, knight c4, and once again we just play rook c8 in this position, and
Now it should be completely fine.
yeah, I mean queen e2, or maybe I can pretend for another couple of
Yeah,
moves.
bishop c7.
Bishop g5, but
Yeah,
bishop
but now have
bishop
bishop e5.
bishop b5. Yeah, this is what I missed originally. Bishop b5 looks very strong.
Yeah, maybe you could play queen b3 instead of queen e2, but maybe even then bishop c7. Maybe, I don't know,
Yeah, seems fine.
because b7 is not hanging actually.
b7 is not. Yeah, it's very difficult to find the line where it's hanging.
So, and bishop g5, bishop e5, bishop b5. I guess I have rook c7.
Yeah, I was calculating this. You can also, I think, do this, right?
Queen b6 also, no?
No, queen b6. Yeah, and queen. Yeah, queen b6 is even stronger. Sopiko is
yeah.
right because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pawn is on it.
Yeah.
I somehow thought the pawn was on a2, but it's not. Yeah, black is just better.
Yeah.
Bishop f6, bishop b5.
Or even queen. I mean, and let's
Or
play
queen
this.
b5,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's play this endgame.
Yeah.
It's a very nice endgame.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does seem like there should be ways for black to neutralize this with.
Yeah, but even after bishop e2, queen e7, bishop g5, d takes c4 with knight e5 looks very good, doesn't it?
Yeah, and here as well we can play knight g2, but I guess black actually won Did he?
Or maybe bishop g5 is better to have?
I mean, we can still play knight a5 or knight e5 here, and we
No,
probably.
but at least then there is some fight. Yeah, I can win knight c4.
Let's start with h6, of course. We need to have g5 in those positions. So bishop h4, and now we go, I guess, knight a5.
Okay. Maybe then I can play like knight c4 and then knight takes g5.
Whoa.
Maybe not.
Whoa.
Knight e4 is a threat.
Yeah, knight e4 is a very...
Big
Hang on,
one.
e5? Ah, there's... No, yeah, e5?
Knight e4, bishop f5, right?
Yeah, that was my point. And knight f6, queen f6, or bishop f6, bishop e4.
And if he tried g4, then you go e4 instead of knight e4?
Well, there's many moves here to
Queen
prepare.
e6. Yeah.
Yeah, queen
Or
e6
queen
already
e6,
unpins, yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't work, I guess.
No, but how bad is just, let's say, I don't know, takes, and queen bishop g3 with the idea of playing h4 next move?
No, but why should it be bad necessarily?
No, I'm just trying to inject some life into what we're watching.
No, but I think now there is some life. I think
Yeah.
queen e7, I mean, it's maybe a fine move. It just now the position becomes more complicated.
Yeah, dc4 is played, bishop c4 probably will follow, right?
Well, we're actually looking at knight d2
Yeah,
right
knight
now.
d2,
Knight
yeah.
d2 appears to be more exciting. We don't know if it's good or not, but it definitely leads to more fighting positions. Also, maybe there is an argument for playing knight e5 here and not knight a5,
Yeah, sure.
because it gives me more squares for the future.
I guess I will still play knight c4.
g5.
No. Maybe still take. If I no.
Well, we can still do some things, like we can play bishop g3 here, maybe.
Yeah, bishop g3 is also attacking tonight.
Then I was afraid of something. Take e4.
What if I take with the queen? But I wanted to take with the knight. Let's not.
Yeah, check.
Takes, and f5, f4, yeah?
Yeah, this was what I was afraid of.
But f5, bishop d6
Bishop
doesn't
d6,
work.
fe4, yeah. Okay, and if we take with the queen here?
But maybe we can go and check king f1, because then bishop d6 is also a threat. And knight queen c4 also.
Yeah, but if the problem with this is that if it doesn't work somehow, let's say f5, bishop d6, queen f7, if this works out for black, we're just gonna be close to lost with white, right?
Knight d2.
Yeah, but knight d2 I missed, yeah. Yeah, this is potentially very exciting.
Yeah. Nothing like f4.
Yeah,
works.
I was looking at
Yeah,
something like this, but
but
I guess
then
we can
knight f3
sidestep it in knight f3.
But f4 without knight f2?
But then, yeah, maybe.
Knight c4, then knight f2 you want.
Then I wanted to... I
Because if you
can't
take, I guess
bishop
we
d3,
take
yeah.
with, yeah, we are just in time to do
Yeah.
this. And if you go knight f2 here, but maybe I can run to d1 and just say it's one check.
Yeah, and then with white threatens queen
Yeah,
d6.
white
Yeah.
actually threatens mate in 3 or something, so
Yeah. Bishop f8, rook f1,
yeah,
anything.
many things.
Yeah.
But okay, this is now fun to analyze. Just briefly, if we take with the bishop, we think it's not very much. Yeah, I think we had this position like h6, bishop h4, and I was arguing for knight e5.
h4 should be stupid, yeah, instead.
Well, there is that move, but I think
It's a nice one. I like to see such moves, always.
I don't know, even rook d8 to stop
Yeah,
you.
it's like the position is too open for such play.
But
Yeah.
if I go knight e4,
But now I think I can probably start taking this guy because
yeah, it's not...
rook g8 is a very multi-purpose move because I also freed up
Yeah.
the f8 square and the king starts running. That was one of the reasons I wanted rook d8.
Yep, true.
No, I think knight d2 is generally a lot more exciting potentially than bishop takes c4, but it also, in particular, if we continue in this gambit manner, it's a lot riskier for white potentially.
Yeah, but it's like Magnus time to risk. Yeah, like against Karyakin, he was risking with his fourth white game, and now it's his fourth white game.
Yeah, and he also, bishop takes c4 is the most obvious move in the position.
Well, like they say, Fergie time.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I don't know where it's from, but I can.
It's not like that Manchester United was scoring lots of goals at last minutes when Ferguson was
Yeah.
there. So it was
Ole-
even called Fergie time.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in particular, who is a Norwegian whose name I probably horribly mispronounced, but yeah, he was one of my favorite footballers when I was getting into football, because he was some kind of a super sub, the first proper super sub, I think, because he would come on at like 80th minute and then score 2 goals in a critical game, and yeah, he was.
Wow, and people are asking if the time is accurate. We are not sure, but something like this is probably correct because they are taking time.
It seems it should be close to accurate, I guess, because we are an hour and 40-ish into the game, and they, judging by these clocks, they did spend something like this because they start from an hour and 40 on the clock, and with increment comes to roughly what it should come to. And as I was saying, bishop takes c4. If he wanted to take on c4 with the bishop and play a kind of a dull equalish position, as you mentioned, he could have done it much faster. So he is obviously very, very seriously considering going 92 and going for something sharper.
But it's like Tal once said to Kasparov that you first make such move and then you calculate. It's the other way around.
Yeah. It's also possible to do it this way, of course.
To give time your opponent.
Yeah, and people are very happy for some Man United references. So we are at least appealing to some part of our audience, and this is probably time to say that I don't like the club, and I'm an Arsenal supporter. Hate me, come at me, come at me, chat. I'm an Arsenal supporter.
Actually, I will delight Icelandic viewers. You said Solskjaer and said that you mispronounced, but I guess it's impossible to mispronounce it more than our newspapers were writing his name. They were writing Solskjaer.
Yeah, that has to be wrong, but that has to be wrong.
Yeah, it's tough to read. Knight d2. I guess it will be played.
Yeah, I think, like, for our sanity, we very much want knight d2 to be. Maybe not Sasha, because he wants 6 quick draws and a tie break.
Games.
Yeah, but for my sanity, because I don't particularly. I actually would very much like. I mean, I'm slightly conflicted because covering the tiebreaks of the New York match was an extremely exciting day for us here, and it will probably be just as exciting or more exciting if it happens again. But I'm not exactly rooting for 6 more draws.
Yeah.
And not 6 quick draws. Because
well, we can still have a tie, but with results, right?
Yeah.
One wins, one loses.
That's what happened in New York, but
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think it's like, when there is such a moment of such, choice, whether to play a very safe but completely unpromising move like bishop takes c4, or go for some risky but interesting knight d2. It goes something like, okay, like if the guy makes a move within like 30 seconds, then it's more likely would be a safe and a boring one. Then if he makes it like between, I don't know, 1 minute and 10 minutes, then it's much more likely to be a fun one. And then if it's more than, let's say, 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, then again it becomes the boring one, a favorite. Because when you take so long, it means you really want to go for the fun one, but you really don't like something, and you just try to find, not hesitating, actually, that you just cannot find a way in some line after that, and just you're trying, but then you just give up at some point.
And also, in particular, if it's a very difficult decision, time considerations become very much a factor, because let's say Magnus spends another 15 minutes here deciding between bishop takes e4 and 92, and then plays 92, it's move 14, and he's down to 40 minutes. And the position, as we've shown, in some of those h6, g5 lines, in particular if he tries to play for the maximum there, they get very tricky and very risky.
Yeah.
And your common sense will start telling him you don't now have enough time to be in complete control over what's going on. And as we keep on saying, he probably doesn't enjoy this, being draw, and then more draws. But
he would not.
But he's not. But he's not trailing in the match yet. He doesn't need to sort of actively invite losing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he actually looks very, how to say, relaxed and happy at the press conferences. No.
He seems okay so far. Yeah.
But I mean, I have never seen him so relaxed and joyful. I don't know what is the right word, but I mean, just he's in an excellent mood. It seems like.
Yeah, he believes in fortresses now.
Yeah, that was a nice little bit, and his own app kind of trolled him.
Yeah.
Trolled him a little bit on Twitter.
Fortresses exist.
Yeah, play Magnus actually tweeted, "Good thing they exist, eh?" And that was coming.
But it's just his quote.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said it's a good thing they exist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's less funny. But still quite good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we are now like in the middle maybe of this zone of 92, but then we will start to get back to bishop takes c4.
No, I think it's already been 10 minutes
maybe
or so.
Already we are approaching the verge. Yeah, how to say. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
But
between those zones.
How long do you think is appropriate to think and take decision in this moment?
Don't ask me.
Peter.
Yeah. No, I'm exactly in agreement with what Sasha said, and I think in a game in a slightly more casual setting, this is a World Championship match. But if this were my game and it was a tournament where I could sort of express myself, I think you just you play 92. Like if you feel good on the day, if somehow I don't feel particularly confident, something is bugging me in just how I'm calculating.
Yeah.
Let's say I already spotted some blunders in my calculations by this point.
Yeah, then it's different.
Then it's a problem. But if it's a good day, I feel well, I feel like I'm calculating well. You just play 92 and you say to yourself, que sera, sera. But in a World Championship match, I don't think this approach is quite good enough.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It is very important. Game and result will also be more important than casual.
But basically the fact that the game is more important doesn't mean you have to start playing worse.
Yeah.
No, but it's not about better or worse. It's about just sort of trusting your instincts and
No, but I mean just trusting your instincts makes you play better, and not trusting makes you play worse. So it's exactly about that. It's just hard thing to do. I mean, an extremely hard thing to do. To disregard the importance of the game, but I think I mean it's best to have a somewhat relaxed attitude, at least during the game.
Yeah.
And you could prepare a little bit more seriously, I guess. But
92 on the board.
Nice. So we'll get some game.
Yeah, but actually now after h6, bishop h4, knight e5, white can still take on c4.
Yeah, of course you can still bail out
So
later.
actually, this will be the moment of truth. After he plays, I guess he will play h6 pretty much.
Instantly.
I guess,
Well,
unavoidably, I'm not
Yeah,
sure. But
because here, like if white decides to play, let's say, knight c4 in this position, you more or less no longer have the option of h6 because you lose that pawn. So if you want to have the option, you have to do it now. I was looking at this, and I mean, black doesn't need to necessarily play h6, but it's not that easy to make a move here. Maybe just bishop d7, maybe just ignore it. What do we think about just completely ignoring this thing?
no, it's okay.
Castles and, I don't know, bishop c6 or rook c8 or something, and because it's not like white is giving mate on the king side.
I mean, unless he's in time for take, then bishop h4, knight e4, then no.
No, but here I'm always going to have knight g6 here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I cannot try anything other than
I mean, there's
maybe bishop f4, bishops.
but bishop
No,
f4. There should be a way to react to it, right?
that is horrible. You're not obliged to go
It's
away.
not horrible actually, but bishop c7 is probably enough, and also
Queen c3.
yeah, I was wondering about
Yeah.
queen c3, but knight e4, knight e4, f6, queen e5, fg5 is one line. And also after queen c3, once again, if I want to be boring, I can probably play bishop c7. And I generally very much try to be boring, so. But here maybe we improved that line a little bit, right? Because there's no more knight g6 because the pawn will be hanging.
And knight e4 is coming.
So knight e4 is a threat, and if you go bishop c6, maybe I can play f4 and drive the knight to d7, and now maybe we can go for something. I don't know, bishop f3.
f3? Yeah.
Yeah, bishop f3, trying to get the rook over to good squares. Who knows what this is?
Still knight e4.
Yeah.
This looks some kind of initiative for white.
But once again, this is black trying not to play h6 in this position, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure h6 is by far the most natural move. And yeah,
h6, bishop h4.
bishop h4. We think knight e5 is very natural, and yeah, as Sasha said, this is the moment of truth, because white still has the bailout with takes, and bishop c4, but this probably is almost entirely equal. Yeah, like bishop d7, I guess. I don't even need to unpin myself here. Like knight e4, I will play g5. Takes, bishop f3, bishop g3, rook a c8. This is just
Or
okay.
even check on a5.
Yeah, even check on a5. This is even stronger. Maybe black is better because you cannot play
Yeah.
b4.
You-
Blunders a rook. Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be a turning point. If they get to this position, this is going to be a very important turning point, because you can continue playing for sharper positions with knight e4. We think knight c4, but maybe does knight d4 make any sense?
It just looks extremely strange.
Yeah, I think you want to keep the pawn on c4 under observation here. Yeah, and in this position there's g5 with
But maybe he can try something like bishop a5 as well. Not to allow queen c3 and other knight come to...
Let's
Hmm?
castles probably.
Yeah, I don't know what I achieved. Knight is anyway coming.
No,
Knight
you
g6.
No, you can take on d2, I guess. And I have a choice here. I mean, there is this position and maybe a4 here, and there is instead this position. Knight g6, bishop. I don't know why I'm playing knight g6 so fast. Actually, maybe I can wait for a tempo. Play b5 first or something. Bishop d7, b5. Let's say b5.
But queen
But
c3.
maybe queen
is better.
c3, yeah.
Ah, yeah, queen c3 is strong. So we go knight g6, bishop g3. We go
b5.
b5,
or-
bishop. Yeah, that actually works for black, because after rook d6,
Yeah.
bishop d6, there's rook d8. and we take on d2. But instead of
But
bishop
maybe
d6...
bishop f3, b5, bishop f3, bishop b7, bishop d6 then.
Ah, yeah. Also a4 makes sense, but I think your line just wins material, which I failed to spot originally. Does it? Rook
I
d8,
don't know.
take, and rook
Rook.
b8.
I don't
Ah, there's
know.
bishop b4 in the end.
Yeah, okay.
There's bishop b4 in the end.
Fair.
Yeah, so, no, these positions get very sharp, potentially.
Yeah.
But...
Actually, I think there is quite a bit of logic of not playing h6, because then after knight take f6, gf6, the bishop will be hanging.
yeah,
So I mean, still, I think h6 is a little bit more natural, but not as much as I.
in particular this line is quite important.
Yeah.
I was calculating that earlier. But if you start with knight e5 here, it more or less rules out knight takes c4, because in this position they're both hanging, you have to take on f6, black takes on c4, and black is already significantly better, actually.
Two bishops.
Yeah. But, yeah, knight e5, white probably plays knight c4, and yeah, this is a huge mess, which we didn't come to any conclusion about yet.
But we would all try with white pieces.
I don't know. I'd be
No.
quite. I would be quite happy with black here, because for me, once again, this is like an ideal scenario with black. I might be worse, but if I'm not worse, I might be better. And
Is it so? Is it like worse, or it's like really worse?
I don't know. I would feel that I haven't done enough wrong in this game to be much worse. So I would feel that, you know, as long as I take good decisions, I should still be sort of okay. And white has sort of announced that he is trying to punish me. And that gives you chances for a counterattack somewhere. So, yeah, I would very much look forward to a position like this. Yes, I understand it's risky, but
Yeah,
it's better than just defending some boring position for 5 hours.
that is true.
But in general, the c4 pawn is a monster in all those g4 openings. I mean, it's just, I mean, all those lines, you know, like anti-Moscow gambit, lots of lines of Catalan with dc4, like Botvinnik, and so on, they are playable not
Because
because
of
you just
c4.
get this pawn. Yeah, I mean, not it's just an extra pawn, but because it's a monster pawn. It just restricts white pieces, especially the light squared bishop. Just terribly restricts them. And I mean, let's say now in Catalan, white just plays b3 in lots of lines. Yeah, you know, like knight bd2, b3s, and take with the knight, or even sometimes b3s and cb3, knight fg2, attacking something along the long diagonals and taking knight b3. And also in Moscow gambit, there are lots of lines where white plays b3, and then if black would just take cb3, white just recapture with, let's say, 8 take b3, and white is much better. But then after b3, black plays something else, something like b4, c3, creating this protected pass pawn on c3, or just using some tactics, attacking the c3 knight, because just the pawn is a monster. I mean, it's not just a pawn. It's not like if, let's say, pawns a3 and c4 were removed, then I guess, I mean, okay, then black could play passively, yeah? So maybe I'm saying stupid things.
It was an interesting rant. I thought it was one of the less obvious rants you had in this past 6 days, but it does what you say does make a lot of sense, and it also brought back a very fond memory of our game in Mexico. That was a fun game, and one of the lines Sasha listed there during that speech.
Long time ago.
Yeah, that was more than 10 years ago, but that still remains one of the best games of chess I ever participated in. There were plenty of mistakes, but a very, very exciting game.
95 is on the board without h6.
Yeah. So we expect knight c4, because once again, knight takes c4 exists as an option. No, here it doesn't. Yeah, here we run into this. You don't have the immediate bailout. You probably will have a bailout later in the game,
Yeah.
but you don't have the immediate bailout.
He's forced to play. knight e4.
I mean, maybe you can play bishop takes e4,
But then why have you done all this? Yeah.
but I mean, maybe nothing special has happened.
What if same? You want to take
There's
on
knight
b6?
takes. Yeah. The difference is in this position we will have knight takes b6, and I actually kind of considered doing this, but it doesn't work
Ooh.
for a number of reasons, including long castles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But black can make, a number of normal moves here. Bishop d7 is probably move h6. Bishop d7 is a move. Yeah. I'm not even sure black is much worse after takes, and something like bishop. No, that I don't like. I was about to say something like this, but yeah. That's actually kind of awkward.
Castle.
He just castled. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
That is very different. Yeah.
no, I think he just feels like this needs to be played. It also makes sure that knight d3 check is no longer a check, so that option is taken away. And the pawn on c4, compared once again to all the lines that Sasha was describing there, is not supported by the pawn on b5. So it's much easier for white to collect it later on. Even though white still is not threatened to take immediately after something like bishop d7, the same tactic works just as well. Black is once again better here.
But in other lines, if after bishop d7, knight e4, then castle is in white's favor, right?
No, but this I think is exactly the position we were discussing earlier. No, we were playing Quincy 3
yeah,
here.
with
and
castle, yeah.
we got there via a different move order, but
We had an
it's
h6, I guess. There.
no, not in this. No, I think this is exactly. Is it? I think this is exactly the position.
Yeah.
And we were checking Quincy 3 here. You were also suggesting bishop
Yeah,
f4.
bishop, yeah.
But I think after bishop f4, it's easier for black to play bishop c7. After Quincy 3, bishop c7 is less attractive. No, could be quite sharp today, and we obviously very much welcome that. Apart from bishop d7, there's also, of course, the option of playing h6. And after bishop h4, there is the option of playing knight g6. But then white plays bishop g3, and next move picks up the pawn on c4.
So bishop c7. I mean, if I want to play just passively.
To equalize.
Bishop c7, there, yeah, okay. Takes, knight b5,
knight c4.
maybe. I'm not sure this is good, but let me try.
Queen b6.
Queen c5, queen c5, queen c4.
Yeah, that was my point. I wanted to get those knights.
Okay, so queen b6 instead.
Can I play a4?
Yeah, knight e5,
I missed that.
queen c3, yeah, maybe.
Maybe queen c3. Not entirely stupid, right?
Right, yeah.
But maybe you can play, in this position, maybe you can play bishop d7, wait for me to take with the knight and play queen c5. And that probably isn't horrible, but I mean, game continues, yeah? Here I can play a6 because knight d6 I run into
b5.
Sorry, not b4, not b6, of course, b5, and this is actually quite. There's queen a3, but it doesn't feel like I'm doing this right, so to speak. It feels like I'm
I guess black can take and
yeah,
take
just
on
take
a4.
and take, yeah. Yeah, it's quite comfortable.
But instead of queen b3, maybe I had something. Didn't I have anything?
Well, I can go
I
knight
thought-
bd6 first.
Queen b1, b4 is never.
Okay, maybe I can take twice.
okay.
No, I thought I can take twice.
Yeah, bishop e2 is not protected, so I can't.
Hmm.
can't
But
do
maybe we can
anything.
start with knight d6 and ask black for a decision first, and then decide which square the queen belongs to.
I guess the decision would be bishop c6.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me of a game I played against Stanish in China last year, and I thought I was perfectly fine, and then 5 moves later I was completely lost, because I failed to somehow control these types of knights in a very similar structure as well. It can become quite dangerous, but maybe not here. Maybe here black is just fine.
Yeah, also there is some counterplay on the king side sometimes. Queen
Yeah.
g5,
Queen g5, knight
h4.
h4, yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is probably just okay. So yeah, black has this option. Can we do something smarter here instead of takes on knight b5?
I thought maybe you can take on c4 with the point is that let's say take on bishop d7, that after bishop d3 there is a little problem with the knight, but I guess there is rook c8. But then maybe queen b3.
Queen b3,
maybe.
yeah. Because actually black,
h6.
black would prefer the pawn on h7, yeah, then he would be completely fine.
And b5 he cannot play? Knight goes, probably knight.
Oh yeah.
This is quite good, yeah. It's quite good. Knight, I don't know. Knight a5 maybe?
Knight e5.
Yeah, it depends on whether I can do this with white, but it feels like black should be
Rook
doing
b8.
quite well after rook b8.
Also there is some mating net on the king side after knight fg4
Oh,
and queen g5.
queen g5,
Yeah, that
queen
actually,
h5.
yeah, like knight.
I mean, I'm not sure exactly, but it's very dangerous. But
but-
Fabiano played differently already.
Yeah, he played bishop d7. This is a move we expected, and now we expect knight c4. At least that's like the default setting in this position.
Yeah.
I think.
Let's hope for. Nothing much actually he can do, if not knight c4.
Well, you can continue making quiet moves, like maybe you can play rook a d1 here and wait for one more tempo, but it feels like you're just giving black choices.
You're helping black, right?
Yeah. I mean, bishop c6 is a very natural response, and black has more control over the e4 square, which is something that I think he likes.
Yeah.
And you never really have the option of playing f4 because bishop takes e3 is always a check, so your options are somewhat limited. I mean, there is this, but as Sasha said, knight d4 is just kind of, it's a strange version of knight c4 because you're
Yeah, I mean,
creating...
I just don't see a single benefit.
Yeah, exactly, like it just feels like a much worse version
Yeah.
if you compare those two positions.
But he has to create something fast, some initiative, otherwise he's pawn down, and this c4 pawn especially. He can take it.
Well, the same. I mean, this still. Sorry. Yeah, the same tactic. We already showed this, but this is still very much a problem for white.
Yeah.
So, and that is why I mentioned rook fd1, because once again, if you give white a move, I don't know. Let's make.
Yeah.
No, but just to illustrate that, like in this position, bishop f6, queen c4, there will be rook takes d7, but obviously. A7,
It
A6.
won't happen.
Yeah, A7, A6 is not really a move you can make in this position. And pretty much any other move black can make, be it bishop c6 or rook c8 or rook d8, will stop this from happening. So
I wonder if h6 now will be met by taking on f6 and knight c4.
Oh,
yeah.
that is nice.
Ah, you have bishop,
Bishop
c7?
c7? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, clever.
Bishop c7.
Clever people.
Mate.
Yeah, always. You know, we have to honor the spirit of Jan, who always shows every single variation leading to mate.
Yeah.
So
Jan loves mates.
yeah.
Does he also allow opponents to mate him?
Over the board when
Yeah.
in practical play, I don't know, and he played bishop f4. I'm now a very sad panda.
Oh, is that bad?
I'm a very sad panda. What do you do after knight d3 then? Is he going to play bishop g5 or what?
No, bishop
No.
g3.
Bishop g3. Ah. Okay.
Might be interesting. But, yeah, knight c4.
How interesting is this?
Rook c8, knight c4 anyway, right?
Yeah, that's
Or-
the point, yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
I shouldn't
he
be so
doesn't
sad.
have-
But okay,
But knight c4, knight b4, what is that?
What?
Ah, no, sorry. Bishop
No, I
h5.
was trying to, like, if white takes with the bishop, I don't think he has very much, but he can take with the queen, creating the threat of bishop d6. So there's maybe some argument for going rook f c8. But even that position, I don't know how. Hang on a second. I can play Rook A8, takes, and Rook F8. But this is much worse, right? This
I
position.
can take C on C4.
Yeah, this is much worse because
No,
the
but
rooks
I
are.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry. But I guess there is no reason to go to D3.
Yeah, you can go
I
to
think
G6, yeah.
Knight G6 is much
Yeah.
more natural.
Yeah.
And now just play some rook to C8, knight C4, bishop C7, and it's like what we discussed, but with some tempi for black.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Maybe white still can try like take and rook FD1. Yeah, that still he is.
White is optically a little bit better for sure, but.
So maybe it's interesting.
I mean, bishop C6.
Bishop C6. Yeah. I
mean-
don't know. This rook C7 just somehow blocked me from noticing.
Maybe we
bishop.
can play knight A5 here and pretend.
Okay, actually, it starts to remind their game with Karekin. Yeah, the one he lost. It was very close to it. The same structure, also, I think.
But I think the dark squared bishops were alive for a long time in that game, no?
No, but then I think they exchanged them. No, I think.
Yeah,
And then
there's.
he was left with bishop, like light squared bishop against knight. Yeah, he was controlling D file.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he had a bishop and a knight against two knights.
Yeah, I think that's the material.
Yeah.
So actually, if black allows knight takes C6 here, it's exactly the same material.
But if bishop e4 and bishop
I wanted to play
f5?
queen b3, or if bishop d5, I wanted to play queen a4, and once again, I think that I will be able to pick it up. But maybe it's just not very much, yeah, like something like this.
But if I put my bishop to f5 on f5,
How? Yeah, okay.
bishop e4,
Queen b3,
bishop
bishop f5,
f5.
but I'm not. Yeah, you might have to calculate. Knight g6
knight g6,
played, bishop g3 played. So we are heading towards, I feel, something like what we're discussing.
Or maybe bishop c6, knight c4, bishop c7 is slightly better than that.
Oh, sorry,
here,
knight g6,
I just didn't see it.
bishop c6, knight c4, bishop c7.
Yeah, this looks much better. I mean, much simpler.
b4. But just takes b6, I guess, yeah?
But take, I tell you, I mean, it can be a mating net someday.
Yeah, for sure.
If you let bishop g3.
You want to try with bishop c7, queen c7 and b4 then?
This is...
Yeah, but then your c file will be
No.
somewhat fragile. Rook c8, knight e5.
Yeah, just the immediate knight e5 probably is completely fine for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and bishop c6 played.
Yeah, bishop c6 is on the board, so...
Okay, but now becomes promising again.
You...
Because for some time, yeah, it looked like. I mean, okay, but for me it's great because it's either something interesting is going on, or I'm happy that the draw is not so far away. So
But yeah, not yesterday, day before yesterday, we were kind of brutally disappointed by them playing a very interesting game out of that.
For a very long time.
Yeah, out of that seemingly completely dry position.
no, yesterday, last game, it was like some book of like I don't know 2,000 pages, where something interesting starts at page like 1,300.
Yeah,
But I mean, then some really interesting stuff starts, you know?
Which is worth it.
Yeah,
Worth
I
reading.
guess for some.
so okay, knight c4, bishop c7 already played, yeah, and it feels like black shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. Rook fd1 played.
Yeah, and also judging by the speed of Magnus.
Yeah. Once he plays Rook fd1 with this speed, you feel like today we might actually have a somewhat shorter day.
Yeah, maybe even Rook d8, just take Rook d1. And
Yeah, I actually kind of feel that coming, because in these positions, if you want to try and preserve, the illusion of playing for advantage, you don't want to put your rooks on the open file where all four of them could disappear. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, your king is definitely slightly more vulnerable than black's one.
Yeah.
So you
Especially
also
after bishop g3 hg, right?
both. I mean, even if you take, then it's. I mean, just the bishop looks there. I mean, you have two knights on the queen side, and
Yeah.
black has two knights on the king side.
Yeah, and rook fd8 blitzed out, and yeah, it feels like there is. Well, I don't want to say a kind of a wink-wink, nudge-nudge understanding between them, but yeah, the speed with which the rooks appeared on the d file kind
They
of.
understand each other, yeah.
I think there is an understanding that this is not a very promising position for white in terms of actual advantage. I mean, you can still play before here and pretend, but
I don't know. Maybe they should introduce the following thing in World Championship matches. I actually saw it in arena tournaments. You know what it is?
yeah, I know.
And you, Sopiko?
No, you mean...
It's basically, let's say, it's a bullet tournament, bullet arena tournament.
Yeah.
Which, for
yeah.
example, Magnus was streaming.
Yeah.
So let's say the tournament just lasts for some time, let's say 2 hours, and you just playing, I mean, you just playing non-stop the whole time.
Yeah.
And then whatever points you scored is
the
your
final
final
score.
result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it makes no sense to play in the hopeless position.
Yeah.
Because it just will kill your time.
Yeah.
Also, there is some special rule that if you win more than, I believe, 3 games in a row, your points then start to double until you don't win. Yeah, when you have this hot streak.
Yeah.
But also, there is a very special rule that you can go berserk mode.
Yeah, you can before you play move 1, you can announce that you're playing with half your time. And then if you win, your points get doubled. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so basically for the at the end, let's say, it can be useful. I mean, if you have no chance to catch someone with normally, okay, you just go berserk and so on. So maybe in World Championship matches, they should let people go berserk, just take 12 blacks, and then you win it.
12 blacks!
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it would be very smart for Fabiano to take 12 blacks and 6-6 he wins. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because I think he probably would say no to that if you offered it to him before the beginning of before the start.
But now...
But right now it feels like an extremely plus EV bet for him.
Yeah, and you could call it Go Anish.
Oh, come on. All this setup for this final needle. That's below the belt.
You'll be here soon.
Yeah. I mean, that will be a different, very. Probably nobody believes me when I say that, and even, I don't particularly believe it myself. But I will try taking a backseat to these two guys and just letting them speak. It will probably not work because I don't know how to do that. But I will try. I will try.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
12 blacks. Wish you would never lose World Championship that way.
I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but
That's suggestion in our chat. Okay.
yeah. So apart from before knight a5 ideas, I really don't know what to suggest here for white. That's the only active idea I think that the white has in this position. At least trying to somehow shift the bishop from c6, but I don't think white ever has enough time for that. Like if you play before here, I mean, as mentioned, even just playing b6 seems to be perfectly sensible, and at some point I will start taking on g3, but I don't have to do it yet.
Okay, rook take d8.
I mean, he took, yeah, and
Took and rook d1.
yeah, Sasha seems to be
Very happy.
enjoying himself greatly. Yeah.
Okay, so last game I forgot. So
Question
today
of
my
the day.
Yeah.
question. Firstly, mostly it's to Sopiko.
Oh, that's scary.
Which is your favorite or basically, let's say Khachapuri a la Ajar, or Khachapuri a la Mengrel. Or maybe some another variant, which is your favorite.
Yeah, I don't like Megrelian. Usually I eat imeruli. I don't know if you...
Imeruli, yeah.
Yeah.
Imeruli is with the
We call
egg
it,
in the middle.
No, egg in the middle is a general.
Imeretinsky, yeah?
Yeah. And, but my favorite is a jarulia.
With egg.
With egg, yeah. With egg and butter.
Great,
But, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of khachapuri. I like more khinkali.
Khinkali, which one? With lamb or just,
No, beef one. Yeah. The
And
beef
for
one.
me, basically, I just scream carbs and run away.
you cannot afford any longer,
Yeah, no.
But you've tried it.
Yeah, no, I love it, but like,
And which one?
if I have any willpower on the day, I just scream carbs and run away. But yeah, the one with egg in the middle, I don't like too much. But,
Yeah, it's
but
a
frankly,
special one.
all of them are incredibly good, and
It's for our audience who doesn't know, that's from Georgian cuisine, and foreign people call it like pizza with cheese inside.
yeah, that's not pizza.
Yeah.
That's not pizza. And we do have more rooks on the G file, so yeah, it does feel like they probably would have shaken hands already, but I think there's a 30 move rule in place in the match, so there will be some more moves incoming. Then again, I mean, Magnus has been known to continue in positions like this, so maybe we are slightly, hasty in our glee to announce this game over.
Yeah. He
But-
will
Okay,
try.
let's
He'll try.
take and play knight d5.
Yeah, we take with normally with the queen, but maybe bishop. But okay, let's stay with the queen and 95. Yeah, it does look extremely dead. In particular because 95 exists. Otherwise, maybe you could
everything.
pretend a little bit.
So Magnus is looking forward for black pieces.
No, I don't think anybody is better here. Actually, what do you think? Like, with the pawns on a3, b2, it's a completely equal position. But I think I got this in one of my 960 games against Hikaru. I got, like, a position like this. Actually, sort of exactly a position like this. Do you think black is slightly better here, or... With the pawns, let's say, b3 and a4. Do you think black has any winning chances?
I'm not a big specialist of such things, but
Because I actually felt slightly uncomfortable. I didn't lose the game, but it felt to me like the knight might actually become stronger than the bishop. But
yeah,
obviously,
I mean, I guess especially at faster time controls, yeah, of course.
but obviously nobody ever plays b3 in this position because with the light square bishop you keep the pawns on a3 and b2, and then black never really has anything. But yeah, it feels like taking in 95 is a very, very sufficient way to play here.
But why do you think that Khachapuri is that much different from pizza? Is there some like clear
Well, there's
difference?
Sasha back.
because it's just bread and cheese and there are no toppings, and also it's better. But
But let's say if you take a jar, there is like egg as a sort of a topping, or even mengreli, there is a cheese inside, but also cheese as a topping.
Maybe the main thing is that it doesn't have tomato sauce, and every pizza has tomato sauce. in it.
Okay, that's a very good point.
yeah,
I just love Khachapuris, like all of them. So
Which one is your favorite?
I cannot pick one. I guess mengreli and ajar. I mean, usually I take one of each. And yeah, if I'm in Georgian restaurant, or if I order some Georgian delivery, yeah, usually take one of each.
yeah. This
That's
is
nice.
this
Good
is
to
making me exceedingly unhappy. Like it's very
Peter's
difficult,
hungry.
very difficult to describe how unhappy this conversation is making me right now.
More food, please.
Yeah.
So we should talk with some wheat, how it's called, wheat Oaks or no?
Oddbrand.
Yeah.
Oddbrand. Yeah, let's discuss the all the extremely different types of Oddbrand you can eat. Or better yet, let's not. Yeah, it's. I don't insist on it.
Yummy.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know, maybe we have lost our concentration a little bit, and maybe there is some problem after what we have just discussed.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why Fabi
also,
hasn't.
in fact, I mean, it looks like Black is missing this window for his... Actually, what is the right word? I don't feel like it's window.
I heard it's a
Portachka.
window, no?
I always say Luft, and it's also not an English word. I think it's a German word, but I have no idea what the proper word for it is in English. Maybe chat can inform us.
Yeah, I also used window one, but maybe
Okay.
probably it's not correct.
Okay, I mean, in fact, it looks like he's missing one, but in fact, there is always knight f8.
Yeah, I can't find a single line where it's important, but also there is like one line I was calculating where I thought it might matter. Was something like this. But Black can actually, if he wants, play Queen c5 here or next move or somewhere, because Queen e8, Knight f8, or take on c4 and Queen c5. And already Rook d1, Queen d1 has been played, and yeah, I think Knight d5 is very logical here. Because you want to continue trading pieces, you don't want anybody to land on d6. Not that it's likely to do too much damage, but why even give white?
Yeah. Now that I'm...
Yeah, and Fishmaster is supporting me with the usage of the word Luft, but...
Yeah, Luft is good. But then I'm thinking of 12 draws and tie breaks. How important is opening preparation in Rapid and Blitz? Like, is it more important than in classical game, or...?
I think it's very much important, but I don't know. I think the main difference is that, of course, there are many more decisive games in the faster control.
Time control, yeah.
Yeah, the faster the time control is, the more decisive games there are. But I don't know. I mean, really, if two more or less two players of more or less the same strengths are playing, yeah, I mean, every little detail become very important. And also, I mean, usually there are more games played in the faster time controls.
You mean per day?
Even what?
In a single
day? In a day or even in event? I mean, let's say
not here.
Championship is 21 rounds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you rarely have a classical event with 21 rounds, yeah, nowadays. And and obviously, the more games there are, the more even little difference in strengths is revealed. Because in one game, okay, if you let's say in one game you are 55-45 favorite. So in one game it's more or less equal chances, yeah. But in 10 games match, you're quite a big favorite, and in like 50 games match, there is like no chance for the 45 guy, yeah. So I mean, it has all what I said have little to do with this match, yeah, because they actually have more games in classics.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
But, yeah.
And also on the subject of preparation, I don't know if Sasha was, the first one, but I, for instance, never do this. But some people prepare like weird sidelines for, let's say, long blitz tournaments to just continue playing it with white, and it's very useful because you will be able to surprise your opponents with something that you. I mean, it looks completely innocuous. It looks weird. But you put some thought into it. It's not just because I default to playing all kinds of random nonsense. I just feel like at that particular moment without really putting any work in. And it doesn't work that well normally.
Yeah, basically offbeat lines are more successful in short time control rather than classical one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, also, also it's the only way to use the same weapon many times during one tournament. It's just not gonna work in a classical, tournament because people will prepare already. But I can tell you when I discovered this d4 bishop f4, I was enjoying it for I think for a couple years. People would just consistently start thinking against me on move 2. Whether it's d4, d5, bishop f4, or d4, knight f6, bishop f4. And yeah, for 2 years, maybe slightly less, but I was enjoying. And then Magnus and Kramnik also started playing it.
Joined the club.
Obviously the first one was Gata Kamsky.
Yeah.
And I think it should be really called his name. But he had different ideas against a lot of setups than I had. And then Magnus and Kramnik came and they had, again, different ideas than what I had, against a lot of stuff. Yeah. They just tried to play it more positionally than I did. But still, it was an enormous pleasure. But then, they started playing it, and then almost everyone. Now it's okay. It's almost a main line. This is d4, bishop f4. So now it's dead. So that's the problem.
Yeah, people started to analyze and know how to play against it.
They just found some forcing reactions. Yeah. So it's unfortunate. Everything. What I want to see in this match is killing of knight f3, d5, e3. Because d4, bishop f4 is killed. Knight f3, g3 is sort of killed.
Yeah, it's almost dead.
Killed as a repertoire. Obviously you can always find some ideas for one game. Yeah. But as a repertoire, it's killed. Now, the only thing that's
remains
as a repertoire is knight f3, d5, e3. So I want to see it killed because it's sort of, embarrassing for, for theoreticians that they cannot kill it. They killed everything. They killed before, like we say. I ran away from the grandfather. I ran away from grandmother, and from you, fox. I will run away.
Yeah.
And somehow they cannot, kill knight f3, e3.
But I played it recently. I actually played it one game against Sam Shankland in our match in October, and I actually prepared for that game. And it feels to me it's already very close to dead if Black knows what he's doing. So if it gets some more exposure at the top level, I think, honestly, I feel it's dead, just that people don't know it yet. People don't really, people didn't, put enough hours in to figure out exactly what to do. Apart from, some people already have. Like if you look at Chinese games in that line, the Chinese players on the Black side, I think, have figured a number of very smart things out. But once it gets a little bit more exposure, it will become sort of public knowledge exactly what to do against it. Queen d4 played. I guess we take on c3. Queen takes c3, and knight c3 played. White will not take with a pawn. So queen c3, and what would you play here?
Maybe bishop d5.
Yeah, bishop.
If I'm not blundering.
Yeah, bishop d5 would be a good option. And once again, it's very difficult to blunder because there's always knight f8 there in the end. So
no knight b6 or something like this.
You get scared for a second, you might blunder some mate on the back rank, but there's never any mate on the back rank. And I think Black is more or less actively trying to get those positions where he takes on c4, right?
I don't know.
Maybe, knight a5 maybe, but even takes and b6 seems okay.
Yeah, knight c6, queen c7, bishop f3, Black will just...
No, but my argument is I can even take on c6 here and go knight f8 and kind of, why am I worse?
Here there is some danger in like a plan of playing b4, queen b5, a4, a5, ba, ba, then a6, and this can be dangerous. So I would not want to get it in such a passive way. The material is okay, but Black is just a little bit too passive for my taste.
But even that, I think, should be okay, because like if we start looking at it, I will probably be able to kind of, you know, I'll get some version like this, and I don't think I'm losing this.
Yeah, but why? Maybe it's just completely okay. But why not knight c6?
Yeah, of course there's Quincy 7. Yeah. But just structurally, Queen 7 is stronger because we probably get everything off. Yeah, we get.
Yeah, then bishop f3 takes c6 and black does not work.
Yeah, because with queens off the board, it's just like there's zero chance for white to.
Yeah, Suat is suggesting maybe bishop b5, or and also another idea from chat is if they could try e5. E5.
Hmm. But e5 is kind of sort of playing for advantage.
But are we? Well, why are we?
And I don't think we are in time. Although, I mean, why am I so worried about this? Just go bishop d5 here. We are cutting this bishop off, and like if you give black time to play something like f6, I don't know, queen d7, knight e7, he will be quite happy. But
who knows?
no, he took on g3, I think. I think.
Yeah, but bishop b5 makes a lot of sense, yeah?
Instead of...
But I guess I don't understand why he took on g3.
Yeah,
was he feeling that it's so important to
spoil the structure?
To spoil the structure?
Yeah, I don't know, but once again, and this is where, if they are actually in disagreement about this is where, but again, in this position I feel silly to even say it. But I wanted to argue that the only danger for Fabiano here is if he thinks the game is over and we need to make 5 more moves, and Magnus thinks we're just starting and I will look for small pluses. Because it's possible to kind of lose concentration and allow something in this position which actually allows Magnus to hope he can be better.
Yeah, queen d7.
Queen d7 play, that's a slightly weird move. What is he planning after knight a5? Probably just bishop d5, yeah? I was wondering if I'm in time with f3, e4, but I'm just not in time because b6 is perfectly good enough. Is bishop d3 a move here?
Yeah, but Fabiano has slightly different instincts than most players, yeah? I mean, I'm not saying it in good or bad sense, just as a matter of fact. I don't think many players would play queen d7.
Yeah, it's just, for me...
I mean, maybe I would just not even see this option. I would rather maybe play queen d8. I mean, no, it's pointless because I thought I would control a5 square, but no. But d7 is just, I don't know, unnatural.
Yeah, that was my first reaction as well. Yeah, why are we putting our queen on a light square?
And can we try f3, e4?
Yeah, but he always has this bishop b5, and then it takes like almost all sting out of this f3, e4. Because with this f3, e4, you really want
Hang
to
on a second. What are we discussing? F4?
F3.
No, f3,
but
bishop b5.
But hang on a second. Aren't we blundering something here?
Ah.
Oh. Oof. That is queen e8, take, and...
We actually, we managed to close to lose the game here, because after bishop c6 I'm winning the a7 pawn for nothing. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't take on e2 because queen b8.
And this is actually one more reason why you don't want to put a queen on d7. It's just like, why is it there? In this position, bishop b5 was perfectly safe. And we actually...
Yeah, it's funny that when bishop is actually like in the air on b5, it's completely fine. But when it's protected by the queen, it's losing.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this anti-nun rule, yeah? This, how is it called? Like hanging pieces will fall or something. How is it called?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but
we know
like that, yeah.
Yeah, but f3, I guess as Suat says,
right?
he wants to play b6 and just ignore all this, and yeah, that's a sensible move. I guess he just wants to play b6 and then, I don't know, slowly bring the knight over. But why are we?
E4.
Yeah, e4. But I guess now we can maybe play bishop b5. No, it's the same. It's the same tactic.
It is same. Yeah, we don't have any checks.
But okay, maybe we just play h6 and we say, I mean, show me. Why am I worse?
No, knight e3, then still bishop b5, yeah?
Yeah, I was wondering about e5, but bishop b5 is just very strong everywhere. Because if we could actually get the knight to d6, maybe we could start pretending.
Can we try bishop h5 in the current position? Like.
No, but the issue. f7 sorry.
Yeah.
I was about to say something very stupid. Sorry. But I guess maybe f6.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that myself. If we just want to, actively trade this bishop for a knight, but this is not better for white. It's not better for anybody.
Yeah. Not better.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it seems like they have very bad drawing skills, you know, because like, or maybe they're just not, how to say, compatible with each other, because like most, you take a pair of players, and okay, it will be a draw by now, yeah, if you get the position after, let's say, knight d5, queen d4, knight c3, queen c3, okay, it's like in 3 minutes it will be a draw, whether there is a 30 moves rule, 40 moves rule, or maybe just a pure Sophia rule, it will be a draw within, okay, 5 minutes, and they already spent 10 minutes since then, and actually are more far away from draw than they were. So, and the same was in the previous game. They took like 6 hours, where normally you should take 20 minutes. So yeah.
And actually, you know, somebody was winning along the way.
Yeah.
So it really.
Mate, that was mate in 33. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he started thinking, so it means he's trying for something now.
No, but I think if, like, I understand there's, you know, resources are very limited, but if I saw queen d7, I would also think, like, why was this move played and can I exploit it?
Yeah.
The answer is probably no, but I would
anything is fine, yeah?
Yeah, but I would definitely start asking myself this question. People are asking, can't knight e5 be played? Probably, maybe even here, but the thing is there is queen d8 here, stopping queen b8 check, and then black will slowly consolidate. There's just one immediate threat which can be parried quite easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't see any point in queen d7. I mean, the longer I look, like, what, why, what?
It's an extremely weird choice. But as mentioned,
No, I mean, I guess it still like doesn't spoil anything at all, but it's just...
Yeah, people in chat were saying it's a sick blunder because it dropped from 0.18 to 0.24 after 27. So it's a...
it was 0.18 even before that?
Yeah, I have no idea why.
Maybe because computer thinks that the endgame of just white bishop against black knight is something for white.
Yeah, he played bishop d3. I wonder if he is actually planning to snap on g6 if he is given an opportunity.
But queen d5, e4, yeah? Then.
Queen d5 we can even play f3. I don't think we're forced to do anything.
But now bishop b5 wouldn't it be... Is it...
It actually still works.
It still works.
Amazingly, this still works. It doesn't matter that it hangs. Now 2 pieces can take on d3 and it still works.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Very beautiful.
It is a very nice shot, but yeah.
But now it doesn't win a pawn. Oh no, it does.
It still wins a pawn. Yeah, it's exactly the same way because the queen will have to go to e8 after the check. Yeah. No, but okay, bishop b5 is not going to happen. I mean, bishop queen d7 is, you know, making slightly strange decisions is one thing. Blundering pawns in one move is not what FIDE does.
Yeah, but it's strange that I don't know. I thought black is not worse. I mean, especially if he played bishop d5 instead of bishop take g3. I mean, I wonder why the plus 0.18.
Yeah, I don't really understand why the machine would actually even...
Maybe it's on low depths because computer really likes sometimes this symmetrical structure with white. Sometimes he can even give like plus 0.45 and you'll get excited, but then you look the line he's given and it's just completely equal at the end. Sometimes he thinks white is much better, just this 4 against 4 on white on the king side. I mean from far away.
Yeah, those positions, like, you remember that game, of course you remember you played in the tournament, the Karekin Saw game from the candidates, yeah?
Oh, look, bishop e4 now. That's nice one. Bishop e4, bishop e4, queen d1, queen h5, perpetual.
Yeah, that's a very nice spot
That
by
is
somebody
nice.
in chat.
Yeah.
Oof. There is immediate Oscar prize.
Yeah, okay.
Sasha very happy about it.
No, but it's actually
Maybe that was
Magnus' intention.
thinking. I mean, he was trying to find an immediate draw.
But hang on a second.
Again?
Hang on. Are we trying to lose again or what?
I see.
No, but maybe queen d8. Maybe we don't care.
Again?
It's the same perpetual anyway. Nothing changed, yeah?
Oh,
This is brilliant.
yeah.
Nothing changed
Nothing
at all.
changed.
Yeah, we can still give up this bishop.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and bishop d3. But okay, Fabi needs to, like, you also need to start looking for an immediate draw with black here, and it's not obvious you have to. And
Yeah.
maybe after bishop e4 he goes bishop f1 and says, yeah, I will now play f3 and d4 with tempi.
Yeah. He will do that. Magnus will for sure do that.
I don't know.
No?
Honestly, like, I'm not sure he believes he will win this position against Fabiano. Or, frankly, too many people in general, because it's just so level, and it's so difficult to even create, ask questions.
It is. Yeah, there is a question about queen d5, but we already covered it, that f3 or e4. We don't...
Yeah, I don't think queen g5 does very much. I mean, you can play it, it's not a bad move. Maybe, I know, I thought maybe bringing it over to c5, but it runs into more tempi, so... Yeah, I don't know why we're forcing white to make a move which we kind of want to make anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just cannot stand this tension. I will take little break. So
Sure. Yeah, and I like the combination of the username and the question. We are the robots is asking, they're not using computer to help analyzing. No, we are the robots. We are not using computer to help analyzing. We are the non-robots here.
No to robots.
Yeah, and on that note, I want to make a slightly weird shout out. I listened to the first 2 episodes of Josh Robert Thompson's podcast called Joshing Around, very appropriately, and the first episode is called I Am Not a Robot, I believe. And he is unsurprisingly, I mean, I understand there's probably like 3 people who will know who he is, but I've been a fan of his for a while, and now his solo career seems to be doing quite well as well, so I'm very happy. Or at least he is just as funny solo as he was as a robot skeleton on Craig Ferguson's show. Anyway, enough of the derail.
I'm out of.
Yeah. Those references would have made Jan very happy, because he was the one who got me addicted to Craig Ferguson in the first place.
We miss Jan.
We do miss Jan, but I am enjoying myself immensely nonetheless. So it's all good.
Great.
It's all good. He played b6, so I guess he doesn't want to like beg for a draw with bishop e4. But there's the same perpetual. I mean, it looks like black blundered a piece, but white, if he wants to, can still allow the same perpetual here.
So he did see the trick.
Yeah, he just didn't want to force it, you know. Like bishop e4 was slightly artificial. Bishop e4 was like a kind of a move where you actually did kind of have a nudge win-queen situation, and you know both of you kind of want to make a draw immediately. Yeah, and now question, you know, the question for Magnus is, and yeah, I mean it's already been answered. Magnus wants to continue playing. He plays f3. Once again, you have to question why bishop d3 had to be played if your next move is f3. He could have played f3 on the previous move.
Yeah, but now bishop g6, hg95 is kind of a threat. Well, I don't win a piece, but there is no perpetual as well.
Yeah, now you have to pay attention to it because the king will come to f2, and then maybe it gets slightly awkward for black.
So bishop b7, and I read Suat was saying that you always wanted to get queen and knight versus bishop and queen.
Yeah, that's true, but in this structure, I still don't think white wins. We were discussing this. I mentioned that, you know, there is some kind of a position like this where, you know, you go king e2, you go e4, g4, and whatever. But black really has no weaknesses, and black will need to play this quite poorly, I think, to run into trouble.
Right. f6 or bishop b7 probably is also valid to get out of this.
Actually, somewhat maybe surprisingly, bishop b5, knight e5, even with the pawn on b6, still loses the same pawn.
Yeah, it does, because queen e8 and queen a7.
It's quite remarkable. It's the same tactic all over again. Like once again, black ends up in the same pretty much lost position, despite the structure changing a little bit. And yeah, hello to our old friend John Henderson from the Scotsman, who referred to the earlier years of Craig Ferguson's stand-up, which I will not, you know, for fear of angering the mods, I will not repeat what he said. Bishop b7 played by Fabiano, and no, but it's really interesting because I think we were in agreement with Sasha that once this endgame appeared, trading this bishop for this knight was something black, I think, kind of actively wanted to go for.
Yeah, and now he allowed the opposite.
Yeah,
right?
and he allowed the exact opposite, and it's very curious. And once again, it brings back what Sasha said about Fabi having a somewhat differing understanding of things that most people, I would think, feel very, you know, there's a very uniform understanding of these things, but it seems like Fabi just completely disagrees because he had the option to go after the c4 knight.
But should we keep queens with black pieces? Because it seems that without queens it might... No.
If Magnus never offers a queen trade here, because if the queens come off, white is definitely never better, and you know you can imagine scenarios where white could become slightly worse.
Yeah.
It probably also never happens, but you can sort of at least you can imagine, and it's curious the move that he made. But maybe because I was about to say you can give this check on d1, and if white goes king h2, no, hang on, I'm an idiot, because it's no longer a perpetual.
Yeah,
there's no pawn on f2. Sorry, I was being an idiot. Because I thought queen d1 check, and if king h2 there's this trick which doesn't work, and if king f2 there's bishop a6, which might actually be a useful move for black. Although even here I think queen plus knight works so much better than queen plus bishop that white probably is perfectly fine allowing this.
I'm wondering though, like if queen trade is in black's favor, then queen c8 might be a valid option.
Straight away?
Yeah.
But white has enough squares to avoid it. Like we play with queen d4, for instance.
And b2 will never be...
Yeah, I mean, bishop a6, knight e3, queen c1 check. Just even here, I mean, this setup is extremely unlikely to get shifted. I will probably at some point also play g3, g4 to have one more additional square.
And here I might get actually a bit worse, yeah, with black.
Once again, I mean, it's very difficult to imagine how black loses this if he doesn't completely lose his mind, but I honestly don't understand why any of this was allowed.
Yeah.
Because I think...
That is more interesting.
Yeah, and what you said about, and what Suat said in chat about queen plus knight in general being stronger than queen plus bishop, it applies to both sides, which is why I'm so curious why
this happened.
Why black didn't actually actively chase and...
Oh, there
Quincy
is a
7,
suggestion. Yeah, Quincy 7.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I also spotted that.
Because
we
G3 is
we attack the pawn on G3, and if white plays something like, I don't know, G4, we can play bishop A6 and force the trade. Yeah, that's a very smart suggestion.
Yeah.
And okay, I mean, white is still probably not worse here, but I think as black you're reasonably happy about this. But maybe this is what Magnus wants. Maybe this is why Magnus is allowing this. The structure actually changes somewhat. But black should still be fine. We go king f8, we go king e7, then we go bishop e8, and then we play f7, f6. And I mean, how much trouble are we in it, really?
We shouldn't be in any. Because...
Well, let's have a look at this for a second, just from a structure point of view. King e7, king e3, let's say bishop e8, we go... I don't know, maybe f4, f6, knight g4.
Should we really go f6? We can also play like king d6.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can pass forever. That's maybe a wiser course of action. But then this bishop gets stuck a little bit, and you will start actually running into. I don't want to call them zugzwangs, but let's say we go king e7, c4, king d6, and I play g3.
Yeah, because king d7, c5 you want, and then things get trickier.
Yeah, maybe this becomes interesting, because I don't know. Once again, I'm not sure what the threat is. I'm also not sure.
Yeah,
b5 loses.
F6.
Yeah, b5 followed by f6 and a5 and bishop c6. Maybe all of this is perfectly fine, but at least it's a game now. At least there's some imbalance in the position.
Yeah, and I don't get queen c7, queen d4 doesn't work. I just read in chat because g3 is hanging, isn't it?
Well, maybe there's some... it's
queen
maybe it's actually quite smart, because there's only check from e1. There's no longer a check from h4.
And knight f7,
and then we
queen
take on
h8.
f7, yeah. Oh, it's... yeah.
Ah, this is nice.
That's a trap.
But then f6, I can play
Where?
f6
With
here.
b7. Ah, yeah, f6 is maybe a draw. Yeah, that's a...
Thanks.
That's a very good spot. Yeah, because I think not taking on b7 makes no sense. I mean, you can also play knight f7. It leads to the same. Black always has. Black always has this draw.
Ah, you can play king f1, bishop a6. Yeah.
Yeah. No, king f1, bishop a6 is a way to try. To lose. Maybe you still don't lose, but why do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, queen c7, but I think Magnus will just go for g4 and go for this endgame, because once again, if black has one more tempo here and plays g6, g5 himself, I will start quite seriously arguing black is already slightly better. But because white has this strange change of structure, I like a position like this. I can imagine white becoming, having some pressure, because like here, next move I will probably take on f6. I will play king d4. Maybe I will play king d4 first. I don't know. Let's say move. And here actually bishop d1 is a bit of a threat. So okay, let's say I do this immediately. e5, f5, and I go knight, I don't know, f6. I can imagine this becoming slightly worse for black, because now you have some pawns on the wrong squares.
Yeah, and advantage of knight is that it can jump to both dark and light squares. And we have only light squared bishop. And pawns on dark squares.
Yeah, now white is now completely safe, and the question is if he can be better. I don't know. I think it's probably still a reasonably safe draw for black. But we have allowed something which we probably should not have allowed.
Yeah, it seems like this pawn on c3, you don't want to ruin your structure, but in this particular game it doesn't change much. It is...
No, but it's very important, once again, that the pawn was just in time to get to g5. Otherwise, black, I think, would snap at that opportunity.
Yeah. BC and we played bishop b5 there, right?
Well, yeah. Let's go through this again, because I just deleted the lines, but we can get there again.
I was just thinking g5. Can I play myself? I'm losing. Yeah.
Well, The issue here is that you're not in time because the knight comes out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if the king was closer, you could do that. But with the king on g8, I don't think this works.
Yeah. e4 and Fabiano is still thinking. Down to 20 minutes.
It's not a difficult position. He only has 11 moves to make. But I'm guessing he also is trying to assess all these things because he's clearly spotted Queen c7 and maybe Queen c7 e5 with like similar ideas but slightly different fixing of the structure. And just knight d6 against everything.
Yeah, bishop d5, knight d6.
Yeah, let's say bishop d5, knight d6, you have to take, let's say, and knight c8 is a bit of a threat, but in general I just want to bring my king over and play against the fact that the pawn on f7
It is annoying a bit, this, because now we have this b6 structure and not pawn on b7. Pawn b7 we would be happy with a6 probably.
Yeah, Queen c7 played, so this is clear it is. And okay,
it's
now
interesting.
Yeah, now Magnus has the option of playing Queen d4 and allowing that forcing draw with Queen g3 and f6 after knight d6, or he goes well e5 or g4 and allows bishop a6.
And Sasha is back.
Sasha is back. We are very happy to see him back, and there are now two endgames. There's this we were discussing. There's this forced draw that Sopiko spotted here, Queen g8, King h7, knight d6, and there's this move f6, which is important, but like it's an immediate draw. Or there are two endgames I want to show you. One endgame is this: g4, bishop a6, knight e5, queen c3, bc3, bishop b5, g5. And the second one is the immediate e5 followed by knight d6. If we're not taking the draw with white, which one of the two endgames would you prefer?
I mean, in general, black has let white like the only thing to make his position a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, this is also what we were discussing while you were gone.
But I guess it's still okay. And here e5, maybe queen c5 check first, or it just doesn't matter. Yeah?
I'm not sure it matters a great deal, but maybe it drives the king to h2.
Yeah. And then bishop a6.
Yeah, maybe the reason to play queen c5 check is just to make the king slightly more decentralized, because I think I'm not playing knight e3 there.
Okay, Magnus played e5 just when I was trying to say that I guess I would choose e5, but yeah.
It's interesting because I was actually leaning towards the other endgame. I thought G4. That endgame with the pawn on g5 was actually quite promising. But
why so? If I just play f6 then there is a g6 hanging.
G6
yeah, bishop e8 we have to go.
So you have to go all the way back to e8, and then I will play f4, f6, knight g4.
But why do you think we are just forced to play bishop a6?
No, of course you're not, but in general I think black wants the queens off.
Yeah, but also maybe no.
Maybe g4 he could try queen c5, king h2, something like queen g5 or something.
No, but there's never going to be a perpetual there. But again, we can return to this if there's because we now have a different structure. And now it seems the queens will come off, yeah, because I think if you allow knight d6 and you keep the queens on as well, you might actually be worse. So I think it's time for Fabi to actually start trading.
Yeah, and queen c5 check, king h2, bishop f3 doesn't work, just b4 is the simplest refutation.
Ah.
This is nice. Queen f2?
No. But then you go back and play b5, so...
Ah, that's very smart.
Actually, it's not a refutation at all.
That's very smart. Okay, so gf, check, here, check, but I think this is just very easy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say we allow all this, and then we play bishop d5, we take, we go...
Knight c8 is a threat, yeah? So
yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I would play completely differently with black.
How?
Is it better to have our bishop
you mean
on
earlier,
a6?
Or?
Yeah.
Is it better to have our bishop on a6 rather than d5, so that we don't worry about knight c8 and bring the king?
Yeah, but like Do we start with g5 or not?
Yeah.
That's the first question. Because
G4.
if you...
The g5 knight e4 even is.
Ah, yeah, that's true. So king f8, let's say I go f4, king e7, g4,
F6.
f6, king g3.
Bishop e2 can... Oh, knight c8 is there, yeah.
But also,
King d7.
I
I
don't want,
know.
but I mean, in some positions I might even just play g5,
G5,
allow
yeah.
fg, fg, and then bring the king over to d4, try to play for c4, c5.
I cannot come king d7, king c6, king d5.
But then you will allow knight e8, knight takes g7. This is,
Yeah.
or even maybe in some positions ef, gf, and then knight e4. But I think knight e8 is the most critical
Yes.
try. Maybe it's fine for black. Takes, king g5. Maybe it's just fine for black.
King f4.
Yeah, but it's some kind of a race. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
you have to be very sure of yourself.
G5, right? And take on e5.
Yeah, but then you're worse after
But,
knight takes
yeah.
g7. Then you're definitely worse.
But then I'm losing the g7 pawn.
Yeah, but I mean, you can actually kind of start racing here. You might not like it.
There was also knight c7 check.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. That's kind of
Oh,
relevant.
yeah.
That's kind of relevant. But actually, in this position, I'm not threatening to take, maybe, because the king will run over and pick up the knight. So
Oh.
bishop somewhere. c4, I don't know.
Yeah, but king f4 is always
Yeah.
very useful.
Yeah, this looks...
Okay, at least it's dangerous. I mean, maybe it's okay.
Yeah, it's very, very mystifying to me that any of this was allowed. And this...
So it's like the only thing you should not allow, in my opinion. Also, I have read a nice suggestion by some commentator that after bishop d3, bishop e4, knight e5 can even be met by knight e5, queen e5, f5.
Same draw, yeah?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, queen d8 I think also works, but this is cleaner. Yeah. No, but this brings us back to what both of us were saying here. Because my first instinct was just kill this knight and I'm never worse.
Yeah, I had in my first Linares in 2001, I had this endgame with knight against light square bishop, and we just had pawns A, B, A, B, F, G, H, F, G, H in my game against Peter Leko. I was slightly but clearly worse in the middle game, and he was playing very fast. And then when we got this endgame, which I thought was just a dead draw, he started really thinking. He spent like, I think, I don't know, 40 minutes to get into this endgame, and then like 1.5 hours in this endgame. And in Linares, there is a very nice option that you can order some soft drinks, yeah, just with a paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was beer on the list, and I just was tempted so much to order a beer.
You
but-
don't know the story?
Yeah, about Ivanchuk.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Ah, no, I think I told this story on air, but basically it's exactly the same story, and this is a true story. It happened in the game between Mickey Adams and Vasily Ivanchuk 1 year in Linares, where Vasily was like slightly worse the entire game, but in time trouble in the first time control, he managed to pretty much solve all of his problems, and by move like 42, when they both got out of the time trouble, it's some kind of a rook end game where, I mean, Mickey is still the side pretending to play for a win, but it's quite clear it's going to be a draw. And Mickey is sitting there trying to see if he can find some way to create problems. And Vasily actually does pick up this piece of paper and puts a check mark next to beer. And Mickey just offered a draw on the spot, like he realized that, yeah, okay, if this is the decision from my opponent,
Then
I am
it's
not,
time, yeah.
I'm not staying here one more moment, like I'm gone. Game is now officially over.
That's a nice trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the difference is that Ivanchuk can have a beer. I can never have a beer. I mean, I can have beers.
That is probably true.
No, that's basically how the easiest way to spot an alcoholic, you know, because a normal person, yeah, he can have one shot or one beer, but for alcoholic, after first beer, I mean, you want second beer much more than you want the first one. This is the problem with us.
Addiction.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm still very mystified by this sequence. Why is this position on the board?
And also he is running into time trouble.
Yeah, I'm not sure, is it correct? 11 minutes for Fabiano?
Yeah, 12, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he played Queen c5 check, and I mean,
19 now.
I'm not sure knight e3 necessarily changes very much, but he wanna play king h2, and yeah, Magnus blitzes out king h2.
But yeah, why he had to do it? To himself.
Yeah, to himself more than anything else. And,
Yeah.
I mean, we still assume this position should be a draw with correct play, but as Sasha said, and as we were also kind of banging on about it, this is about the only chance White had when this endgame arose. So,
Is it possible that king h2 and now f6? I just read in chat. Does it work? Should not work. No, f6 take. Queen h5, king g1.
no, it's not Queen h5. I think they're arguing for this.
Ah, okay.
But then I think I can do this, right? And pick this guy up, and
Yeah.
maybe it's a draw. But once again, why are you subjecting yourself to this
Yeah.
endgame? I mean, maybe you just play something
Queen
like
b5.
Queen
maybe.
b5 or Queen c5 or something, and you
Queen
say,
h5,
I will
Queen
give a
c5.
perpetual.
b2 is hanging.
And, I mean-
Maybe it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible the machine actually defends like this, but once again, like here you blundered Queen c8, and maybe now you lose.
No, I guess Queen c1, yeah, instead of Queen b5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Queen h6.
Yeah, Queen c1 with those ideas as well.
And then like f4, Queen maybe take b2 first, Queen a7, and then Queen e2, Queen h7, so I don't see it, bro.
Yeah, honestly, I just don't see why you would ever allow this. Or maybe they actually mean Queen h5 check, now that I think about it. Because then you can go, no, not g6, sorry, Queen h5 check, and you can go back.
Yeah, back, but then, yeah,
But then maybe I can do,
okay,
because
take
Queen
it.
c3 f7 check, I'm not sure we like this structure, but maybe we don't care. Maybe we take and go e5 followed by g5, and we say that this is fine.
And then e4?
Well, eventually, if it's allowed, yeah. I mean, we kind of ruined our structure, but we also still have a bishop against knight on two flanks, which is, once the queens come off, White, you know, it's important for White to have weaknesses to play against.
Correct.
And yeah, he's down to 17, but it's only 10 moves to make for him. And
No, but it's not 17.
how much is it?
9 almost.
9 already.
Yeah, we'll check.
We had 11 minutes for Fabi, but then it changed to 19, so I don't know what is going on. Maybe we have not correct time on our screen.
And people are arguing for b6, b5. I don't know if I want to put more pawns on the light squares. I think the justification for it is the line 96, we take, we go bishop c6, and if they go knight c8, we can play king f8, knight a7, bishop d7. And here, because the pawn is on b5, there is no c3,
Yeah.
c4 followed by knight b5.
Yeah, that
And
is
black
cute.
might be fast enough to pick this guy up. But in general, I'm not sure I want the pawn on b5 and not on b6.
But if I don't go knight c8 and just bring my king to c5?
Exactly, yeah. Like, I don't know, I start with f4 or
Yeah.
maybe even actually just king g1
Yeah.
and run.
Yeah.
Might be fast
No.
enough.
I guess the most logical is to play bishop a6, so you don't have to worry after.
Okay.
First of all, you don't have to worry about knight c8, and also maybe someday you have bishop f1 idea.
And now?
And then somehow play like king f8, yeah, I guess f6, and some king e7, and then maybe fish for some run with your king to c5, or maybe you can just stand. I mean, standing still would be very dangerous, I feel. Maybe it's a
King
draw,
d7,
but
king
it's
d7.
dangerous.
Now this is exactly our point. I think we had this position on the board.
Yeah, but maybe we were just making some inaccuracy with black. I don't know.
Yeah, there is g6, g5 here as an option, but once again, I'm not convinced
FE.
about this position even.
Why?
But that's probably okay for black, yeah? Yeah, that's fine for black. But then maybe g5 makes sense because... Oh no, hang on. Can we... Yeah, he played bishop a6.
Take on f6, king d7 should
No,
not
but
work.
I think I can do this.
Yeah.
Because fg king d6 now I think I can do it.
Yeah, g6, king d7,
Because
we're
g6
in time.
isn't... Yeah, g6, I'm in time to catch it.
Anyhow.
Yeah, and if you go knight e4, now we got pretty much what we wanted. We're never in any danger here with black. Or even e5 check first.
No, I guess after g5 white had to try king f3.
But then I take.
Take.
I thought g5 check and then your bishop f1 move might become. Or bishop e2.
Is queen f2 possible here? With bishop f1 ideas?
No, but there's knight e4. If nothing else works, we have knight e4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also you're kind of inviting trouble because...
Yeah.
I think trying to solve this position by tactical means is not the way to go. I think you have to choose the setup and go for that setup. But honestly, like, such a mystifying game in parts. Like there's this middle part when they were playing a completely equal position and both were making sensible moves. But there's also the opening where like Magnus chose knight d2 and was seemingly not particularly well prepared for
Not at all.
yeah, the two sensible options. And then there's this endgame where Fabi allowed this for no real reason that I can see.
Is the main option after knight d2 bishop e7, yeah?
Yeah, Suat was saying that it's bishop e7 and after knight b3 it's a split between queen d8 and queen b6. And I think this is why he quite happily played knight b3, because he still expected to get the position after bishop e7, which he probably looked at. And bishop b6, once again, judging by what happened in the game, we have to assume it was a bit of a surprise. It's still extremely strange to me, but...
Yeah, it is. Probably for him, queen d8 came as a surprise.
Maybe in the line we were discussing white should not play king g3, not to allow g5 in such a favorable.
So we go what here?
f6.
I don't know.
Can we go g5 ourselves?
I think we want the king closer to do that. I mean,
g5 take and king g7. Yeah.
yeah, this is the run, but it's like it was very important for us to have the king g5 option ourselves. Like,
but then we will have knight e8.
But it gets lost there. Like king g3, king c6. After knight e8, I can make a waiting move of some sort for now. Like,
you can play king g7 to repeat. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, there's the repetition, and secondly, okay, white can force this. But now this race is a lot more comfortable for black because, for instance, I can do this.
Bishop c8. Yeah.
Yeah, and normally you would have king g5 here, but we no longer do. And we're actually getting...
Oh, but knight h5... No, it doesn't make any difference here.
It's faster than what I thought. It's a very smart move, actually. But like we go king... Knight h5, maybe king c3, king e3.
Wow.
Yeah.
b5, knight f4, a5, knight g6, b4, knight f4.
Who knows what this is? Yeah.
That should be a draw.
Yeah.
ab a4, I think.
ab a4 also, yeah. I don't know. It's like... Should be a draw, maybe black wins, who knows. And we are fast approaching something like it, because Fabi has already allowed all this and played f6.
So, I guess f4 will follow.
But I don't think this will end fast. I think Magnus will try forever.
Sure, maybe the trick is never to play g4 at all, but then you have to worry about bishop f1 constantly, yeah?
No, maybe g4, g3. But then bishop e2.
Yeah, you...
But do we want to... Because knight c8 is there, right? Or we first bring the king to d7?
No, I think it's more important how white decides to settle the structure. And I'm not sure what the answer is. 33 against 8, but Fabi, I think he can make a number of moves here with his hand reasonably confidently, like king f8, king e7. I think g5 in most cases.
f4 he has to play now. No?
Yeah, I'm wondering if you can allow f takes e5, but I don't think you can. Like I was thinking maybe I can play this. But I think black actually takes. And then goes king f8, king e7, because the bishop on a6 actually does a very good job of controlling all the jumps.
f6, f4, and king f8 probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think king f8. I think you bring it to e7 in most cases. Maybe it's just not that bad for black. But in my mind it doesn't really, you know, stop me from questioning the decision to allow this endgame.
No, I mean, maybe it's just completely fine, but it's just you sort of got a strategically dangerous position from completely safe one.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe the evaluation hasn't changed one bit, but it's just, I mean, strategically it changed a lot. Sort of like computer decision. I mean, it's, you know, like in engine games, in the end games, let's say there is an end game of like, I don't know, queen and pawn, just completely equal. And one side just tries to give up a pawn as quickly as possible to get into Nalimov. I mean, something like this. And get an endgame that would just be like 95% lost over the board by humans, but just Nalimov draw and engine doesn't care.
Yeah, and also they sometimes actually say those lines in like if you analyze with the machine and you get to a really late game position, they sometimes actually, like as first line, actively start trying giving material away to go into table bases, and it's always hysterically funny to me. I understand why, but it still feels extremely weird and very funny when first line is like a blunder of a piece.
Yeah.
But yeah,
just to reach.
Yeah, machine.
So it means you analyze some positions that are like 2 pieces up, or what? That you can blunder a piece and still get a table base win.
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. Okay. Can white... No, but the issue is, like, if you try to bring the king over via the normal route, the moment you play king e3... Oh, no, but there's a king d7, maybe, and then, like, king e3, I have this bishop f1 move.
I guess.
But can we play g4 here, maybe?
Maybe I can just play king c6.
Yeah, just run.
98.
Yeah, there's also this, but it never really works. Like, this is fine for black. You force what seems like a concession, but it's more important that...
And pawn end games are drawn if I try to go a4, knight b5 in a favorable situation.
I think black should be able to lock everything down.
Yeah,
probably.
Like c4, c5, nothing is...
No, if the king side,
yeah?
if the king side, just for illustration's sake, let's say you go a4, king e7, knight b5. First of all,
this is too early, isn't it?
Well, I don't think you're risking anything, but...
Oh, yeah.
But the point is... Yeah, I'm not sure about what I was going to say. Like, I think this is a draw, but I'm not 100% convinced. But my point is, like, if you imagine a position like this, and obviously black can also play a6 maybe, but my point was, if we actually get this structure, in this position, I can just pass.
Oh, okay.
Because there is no entrance anywhere.
Yes.
And the tricky bit is, white can obviously start with king h3, and here you play c4, and I have to play king h6. And after that you run to f3. But I think I'm still okay.
Maybe king h5 will win.
Ah, maybe now...
We
yeah,
are the one.
Yeah, this might be a problem for white, because I don't think we're anywhere,
not in
anywhere
time.
near fast enough with our passers on the other side of the board. Are we though? Maybe even
C5?
yeah, maybe even this is a
Take,
draw, and
take,
obviously we shouldn't
king.
be discussing this. It has no relevance, but
King e6.
maybe even this is draw-ish. Yeah.
Is it? Who is first?
Well, I think it's King h2 is probably a horrible mistake, but yeah, I'm pretty sure the machine holds this with white. I mean.
Yeah.
But okay, clearly none of this will happen. But
Yeah, we were just curious if pawn end games are totally drawn.
no, I think it's a very valid question, but I'm also pretty sure I'm misplaying it horribly with black.
Why? You almost won.
Yeah, I don't know. It's my
Having
default setting.
Extra pawn.
It's my default setting, feeling that I'm horribly misplaying something. Yeah, maybe I'm not, yeah. Because the point about FE g5 is that I want to play g4 followed by g5, and then I can just pass forever.
Yeah.
Because that is, this is already a fortress, because there will never be any squares on the king side for the white king.
Okay, but we still have knight and bishop.
Yeah, none of this happened yet, and I think Magnus realizes a4 and knight b5 is probably a draw, and he will look for more or less anything else.
G4? What was the problem with the G4?
We were playing king e7
King
and then
E7,
g5
okay.
against anything, and we don't really like the
Yeah.
idea of playing g4, g5 there, because it locks down our own path to victory.
Actually, we were playing g5 only against king g3, I believe, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because then there is no g3 any longer.
but I don't know, how do I lose a tempo here?
Let's say king G1, I don't lose a tempo, but I go in different way.
Hang on. I can't figure out a way to lose a tempo.
King h3.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, why am I unhappy about this? Just, I don't know, takes, no, maybe I am unhappy about this.
G5 is weak, no?
But why are you unhappy to take king g7? Yeah?
I mean,
Like
this is
this.
just such a horrible king. Yeah, with the king on h3, I'm
I
probably...
mean, there are some dangers for white as well. I
Yeah, for
believe.
sure.
Knight d4, king c6, yeah?
Yeah, we start running. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very possible for white to lose this position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably he does lose this position, to be honest.
And
No, but
knight
you-
f3, king g2,
Well,
it's just
something.
king
No, but
d3.
let's just
oh,
go-
king c4, yeah.
Go
Yeah.
after this guy, or I can play bishop e2, knight d4, bishop c4 or something.
This is risky for white.
Yeah, this is very strategically risky. Yeah, but Magnus still has a decent amount of time to think here. Doesn't need to rush into any decisions.
Yeah, so maybe Fabiano was okay. I mean, what he did. I mean, a little bit strange, but maybe still okay. Yeah, basically you can play such positions in a number of ways.
Yeah.
We're heading to another draw.
Most likely, yeah. Most likely.
I mean, if like a young player played like this, I would tell him, yeah, what are you doing? But if it's like a super top player, then maybe it's just okay. I don't know. I mean, it's like a bad school, but good moves. So something like this.
Yeah. And the question is, what about c4? Maybe just to close this diagonal and never think about bishop f1, but then we are tied to this c4 pawn, right?
I guess not for too long because black will take it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just much more vulnerable on c4 than on c3, I guess.
Yeah.
After king comes to c5.
Yeah, but the king on h2, it's very difficult to try playing for those plans.
Yeah. Queen c5 was a
which is
nice
which is why Queen c5 check. Queen c5 check was a very good move here, making the king go to a very unfortunate square.
And you were proposing g4, yeah, instead of e5. What if I play f6 then?
Sure. Yeah, I guess maybe this is why he didn't do it, because bishop a6 is not forced yet.
But then e4 was tiny bit like he hurried a bit with e4, right, to go into this. Or
I don't know. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
what
his
else
idea
he
was
has
to.
to try?
I'm guessing he wanted to stop f6 and d5. I'm guessing the reason he didn't play a waiting move in this position is that if you give black two moves, he probably will play f6, e5, and then aim for something like bishop d5, bishop e6.
because if
Yeah.
e4
I
f6,
don't know,
then white
some
goes
kind of a
e5.
setup like this, and then bring the bishop over here, go king f7, and you have most things under control.
Yeah.
So
Even immediate g4, e5, I mean f6, g5, e5, yeah?
I think so, yeah. I don't think I care that much.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult to imagine a scenario in which you will be able to get the second pawn to g5 with the pawn on f3 hanging. But still, like, you're not very happy about this with black, right? Because if the king is even slightly weak, you become slightly worried against queen and knight combinations. Like, followed by king f2, knight e3. I don't think I will ever create a threat, but it's a kind of a position where the first threat might be the last, you know. If I actually manage to create some ideas, they might be exceptionally difficult to handle.
Yeah, there is like queen c7 here.
Yeah,
But
we
I
shouldn't
mean,
be.
just to trying to survive tactically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to make an immediate draw.
Yeah, surviving is maybe not the right word. Yeah, just to stop the game. Yeah, he played king g1.
He
No,
wants
I mean,
king f2.
is... Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. No, nothing.
King e7, king f2, I guess, and we were...
King d7 is just overwhelmingly the most natural move.
Yeah, because we also stopped knight c8 and we wait, let's say king f3. But I can also play bishop c1, bishop f1 even, you know, but then you play g4, then you play g3. Can we start the race now?
Maybe this is a question. Maybe knight e8, king d7.
Are we in time?
f5.
No, f5.
Oh, trips.
Clever.
But f5,
But g4, knight h5, I cannot, yeah.
This is also fast enough, yeah. So I had to go king, no, but then the e-pawn will queen. Okay.
No.
Yeah, sorry, so white cannot really go knight e8 because at best it's a repetition. So what does he even have here?
Now I'm starting to think that black just is not worse at all.
Yeah.
So maybe it was a great decision by Fabiano. I mean,
Maybe, yeah.
I doubt, but...
Maybe. All this is already on the board. King f3 has not been played yet. Magnus still has tons of time considering he has only had 4 moves to make until the time control.
Yeah, the problem with king e3 is bishop f1. We can never go to d4 that easily.
Oh, we can actually do this, yeah?
King c5.
But then I guess black is fine playing b6, b5 here, yeah? Oh, knight e4 check though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is tricky.
And actually, c4 kind of completely cuts everything off.
Yeah.
Like your pieces become significantly stupid.
Yeah. I mean, king c6 is
King
okay. So
c7.
king c6, king c7. You want to
Bishop
play bishop
b7.
b7.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe king c7, g4 to just prepare to have g3. And I don't see.
But
No, but also
then I
hang on a
will
second.
run, no?
Also you need to start calculating
Oh, yeah.
those positions. Yeah, I guess they're okay.
King c6.
Yeah,
knight
here
f6.
I guess they're okay. But let's say I go king e3.
Bishop b7. Still ef, yeah?
No, but maybe you start with fe, bishop b7 here.
Yeah.
But once again, I mean, are you sure you're okay here?
But maybe that's why I don't want to start with.
No, but if you don't, I take, I go knight e8 check.
King c6, knight f6, king c5. What is this?
I have no idea. No, but probably king c4, king b3 works out because it's easier to run with the pawn with the bishop.
Yeah.
Like some chase like this probably is okay for black at the very least.
Is it?
But yeah, I mean,
G4?
this is a very fast pawn
Yeah.
with the king on e3. The bishop is really very far away from squares which control it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just winning for white now. Now that I'm looking at it, you know, like b5, g4, b4, g5, b3, g6.
And b2, knight c2.
Yeah, and then
Knight
I,
c4,
and then I
sorry.
will pick it up either with
Yeah.
check or after knight d3.
Yeah.
No, c4 is a very critical idea here for white.
And we have this on the board, yeah? King d7. He can actually play here c4.
Yeah, he's clearly considering this move, yeah. And is there anything else for black?
You can, I don't know, you can
G5?
put, bring the king to c5, then play f5, and then play b5.
King c3.
No, b5, I guess, because it's a Zugzwang otherwise.
Yeah. Maybe still fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's kind of the only try, right? c4.
The only serious one we've found so far, but we'll see. And people asking if there is also Thanksgiving holidays in Russia, and I think Doji replied to it in the proper way. In Soviet Russia, Turkey, it's you. Yeah, that's the accepted reply to the question. In
But
Soviet
is
Russia.
Thanksgiving a sort of religious holiday?
Pretty
Oh,
sure.
no.
Yeah,
I think it is in sort of there's an underlying religious component.
Yeah, but we just don't have such a day at all. Is it such a huge difference between Catholic Church and our church?
Orthodox.
Yeah, I guess.
Opposite,
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess.
I have never heard about Thanksgiving Day in Russia.
No, but
No.
I have a feeling we have a similar type holiday during Lent, I think. But once again, not religious. Can't really tell you.
During what?
Как по-русски? Во время поста.
Ah,
Fast, it's also, right?
I think it's supposed to. I think it's called Lent, but
Yeah.
Lent? How is it spelled?
Lent.
L-E-N-T. Ah. Maybe Magnus is getting worried, but I mean, I don't think he should really be.
Yeah, people are correcting us about the. I mean, we are not really world's greatest authority on this subject, so please don't take anything we say seriously. And People are saying to us that it's based on the Native American holiday of harvest gathering, so we're just totally wrong here. But that's I think that's the entire show. I mean, it's people being totally wrong for hours on end about all kinds of subjects. So I don't think we're breaking the tradition here.
Except chess.
I don't think why you said that. I mean, I don't know why you said that, but yeah, if you insist.
So should we also be completely wrong about chess as well?
I think we are a lot of the time, but no, not always. But I think
Mostly not.
I cannot remember a single major blunder by us so far.
but yeah, they didn't give us too much to blunder today.
No, I mean, no, in the match.
Yeah, whole match.
Yeah, game one I think comes the closest.
Oh, King E3.
The sequence of moves Magnus did not make in the run up to the first time control. Those I think you can maybe describe as blunders.
By us? Why?
Oh no, sorry, by us, yeah. No, I blundered pieces and mates in one and things.
No, but I mean in the lines, but I mean in evaluations, in conclusions.
Yeah, maybe we're doing okay. I'm just very unused to the idea of,
Doing good.
yeah, saying good things about the work I do, but King E3 played.
But
So I guess
that
he
is a
just
bit-
wants to repeat.
Yeah.
After Bishop
Or
F1, yeah, after Bishop,
Sacrifice a pawn. I mean, he can try to sacrifice a pawn and play for domination.
but what kind of domination? Because
Bishop
then
F1 is
G5,
on
then G5 will become a serious topic, yeah, because Black can continue playing G5, like G5 first, GF, then G5 again, and
But after King F2, he can go also Bishop D3, yeah? He's not forced to go Bishop A6, so that he gives another chance of C4. Or it's a
I don't know, it loses a
bad
tempo after C4, but
move.
like you need
Yeah.
to start
I wanted this.
discussing this.
So you have a really adventurous mind, Sopiko. It's like a world champion offers you a draw, and you want to look for some new
Yeah.
waters.
Yeah. That's...
Yeah.
No, I just think that he's tricky. He wants to get time, but to time control.
Yeah, it's possible to play King F2 and after Bishop A6 maybe now play C4 and you will have all those decisions past the first time control. This is already move 40 then.
Yeah.
It's not unreasonable. But we'll see. First of all, is there any reason for this weird triangulation maneuver? Probably not. Yeah, just start running.
98? Oh, King D7 just, yeah?
First of all, the same King D7, but secondly, now there's no... Oh no, this allows King F4. This we probably don't want that much. So yeah, just King D7 again.
I mean, still it's hard to judge. Like King D5, King F4, just I don't know. You threaten Knight C7 check. You don't want to take on G7.
Yeah, I'm not
You want
sure.
to give a check.
Yeah, I'm not sure we want to.
Then maybe.
But also, it looks very artificial to, lure the bishop to f1 and then go king f3 and just pass the move over to black. It doesn't feel like you're achieving very much.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, King F2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
So-
see if Fabi decides to improve.
I think like he takes 5 seconds.
1,
2, 3,
3,
4.
5. Nope.
Okay.
That worked
No,
well.
but now it will draw a grid. No, bishop f6 now.
It's actually fast enough. It's actually fast enough that I think we can accept your
Yeah. It was fast.
yeah.
No adventures.
No, we'll see. We'll see in a moment. Like, I think it's a reasonably logical repetition here because we couldn't really make this plan with c4 work necessarily. I think it's just fine for black. You need to find the f5 idea in this position, but I don't think you find it by process of elimination here because ef6 is now a very strong threat. So you play f5, you play b5, and you realize that actually white might be has to start worrying because bishop against knight. And already King E3, Bishop F1 played, and if Magnus plays...
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me.
I mean, the game is obviously finishing, so I want to ask both of you, because you are, we are like all of three of us are from different generations. Peter is, older than me, significantly, and Sopiko is much younger than me.
Yeah.
So, in your, let's say, junior tournaments, like World Junior Championships, World Girls Championship, were you offering a draw like this?
No.
No?
Never.
No. Both of you?
No.
Yeah.
But it's unbelievable. In my generation, like, everyone was offering a draw.
Really, like this?
Yeah, like
But
this.
you mean-
Because, okay, you are playing World Champion, and everyone is speaking different languages, so it was
No, but hang
like
on a second. What was the youngest age you played in the World Championship?
10.
Ah, yeah, that's the difference, because the youngest I played was under 16, and we all already spoke some English. And
Oh wait, you had different category.
I never qualified for, let's say, under 14.
Ah, okay.
I was not good enough, clearly, and and Arsha Knight in chat says even I offer draw like this, LOL, and he is in. He is a university student, so that's slightly alarming. But and draw has been agreed, so we are. And I think you're doing the banter now, right?
Yeah.
I think I will probably stick around. People have been asking for this for a while, so I think I will stick around because.
Yeah, but I will not accept you. Stick around all you want. The only way is if you somehow, bribe all the other members, so I have one challenge left.
That's
and I'm forced to.
Oh, come on.
Hand and brain.
Come on, I'm
would be very nice.
I will be your version of Lawrence Trent, a game you really, really hate to lose because people will mock you forever for it. And I had some nice messages from Lawrence after what we did to him on the previous show.
Oh God.
He was not happy. He forwarded me some video from India. He covered the Tata Steel thing in India right now with Tanya Sachdev. And he beat Karakin in a blitz game there. So he forwarded me the video of that game and said, feel free to forward it to Sasha. But I'm just telling you the video exists. So,
and actually, since we are discussing this topic, I'm owing you a nice story about Lawrence.
Oh,
in
God.
the next show.
Okay. We will remind you. We will remind you. All right, this is then a wrap for Game 7 of the title match in London. London. The story continues. It seems like White is not really getting anywhere. In particular, I think when Magnus is White, and it threatened to become interesting for a second there, and then once again steered into very calm waters and. Really not a lot to say there apart from, we've already done some ranting on the subject of Magnus's preparation. We've done it before you came on, and then you came on and called it silly, and I think we sort of covered that topic today. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about that game. There will be a recap. I will also keep a window open with the challenge. Maybe he clicks on it by mistake, but yeah.
People will be screaming, come on,
maybe,
Sasha!
I can always hope for a misclick. And on that note, round 8 is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Same time, same place. I hope you all join us with our continued coverage of the match.
Thanks for being with us, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, see you.
Where's the ladies and gentlemen? What are you doing?
That is hello.
No, it's when I say hello.
I'm pretty sure you did it both ways the last couple of days, but okay. What do I know? Anyway, bye, and see you tomorrow.
Да, все, до завтра.
Bye-bye.